Mm.
We're back in the saddle again.
Mm,
Aerosmith,
yeah.
man.
Hell yeah, that's our new theme song.
Yeah,
Just
that's a badass fucking song, dude.
Thank you. I just wrote it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Shout out, Steven Tyler stole it from you.
Yep.
yeah.
Welcome back to Agitator. Uh damn. It's always when we have the boys back that I'm like, the fuck is our intro?
Hmm
What's good? This is Rare
Yeah.
Candy.
hmm
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's a good one. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a
Oh
good.
yeah. Merry Christmas. Yeah. Merry happy holidays.
Yeah,
I'm fully
not Christmas,
Dude,
but yeah.
dude,
I just had a
guys,
cup of hot cocoa, dude. We're back.
bro,
Yeah.
I was at Target today and Christmas is back.
Yeah.
Yeah, oh yeah.
The Christmas spirit is back. Like everything is just back. You can feel it. Like
Trump
Target,
2024, dude. Let's go,
dude,
dude. It's
it
fucking
totally changed the game. I mean, Target went from being like a weird non-binary store, which,
hmm
of course, stores do have genders. Eddie Bauer, men.
Yeah,
yeah, of course.
Walmart, woman, I think. I
Big
think.
black woman, yeah.
Big black woman. But Target's always been non-binary. It's back though. It's a girl store again. But
yeah,
but a good one.
yeah. As long, just everyone has vitiligo. That's the problem.
Yeah. It's Christmas
Why is that?
vitiligo.
Why is that always the go-to like minority skin condition? It's so funny, dude. It's like
What?
I've never seen them in the wild. Maybe like once or twice in my
They
entire
should
life,
do
dude.
a
It's crazy.
like a vitiligo hot cocoa ad where it's a picture of hot cocoa with a mushroom melting and then someone's face just pre-imposed on that.
Vita
Yeah,
Loco, dude. Yeah.
yeah. Vita loco. Yeah.
This is a Mexican guy with yeah. Hell yeah, dude. Yeah.
Yeah, he's at the border and it's a special power. He's like, hold on 1 second. And he's like skin starts cracking into white. Yeah.
They got my debit card, man. Hell yeah, dude.
Those Mexican
No, that's our
debit cards with the eagle like eating the snake like on the flag on there
yeah.
that only work at like two places. Yeah.
If you want to be
Yeah.
7 minutes in, we're already doing the
Yeah.
Mexican grad on. Let's go,
People
dude.
bait me so hard now, dude.
They
Like
do.
whenever I go
They
on
do the
people's
Mexican
pods,
voice.
they're like, yeah, so like I was around Mexicans today, and I'm like, all right, I'll do it.
And
Fine.
Glenn's
Yeah.
like grabbing his leg. He's like,
Yeah.
not this time.
Yeah. I
Not
feel
It's the
like
this
only
Jim
time.
voice you can do.
I,
The only
I
voice you're allowed to do. You know what I
it's
mean?
like Jim Gaffigan's Hot Pocket joke. They're like, I bet you any for like 10 years, that's all anybody wanted to talk to him about was Hot
Yeah.
Pockets. And you
Mhm.
know, now
I
I don't
paid
know
his
what
mortgage so hard, dude. That joke.
yeah.
It's just yeah.
It's a
Yeah.
pretty good joke.
It was,
Um,
dude, it crushed. At the time, that comedy special, I was like, damn, that was so funny. I
yeah.
don't know what he does now, but yeah.
I think he does the same shit. I think he's still touring and writing clean comedy
Yeah.
I saw
that's
him
still
live with
pretty
my
good.
mom.
I saw him live too.
It's a good mom
Dude, I was
comic
at that
for
show.
sure.
I guarantee you I was at that show.
That's crazy. That'd be
Yeah.
sick. That'd be crazy if we were at the same show.
There's
Yeah.
no way that we weren't at that. I mean, how many
Yeah.
times did he go there? Yeah. That's
Exactly.
crazy.
Yeah.
But
It's a great, yeah.
the holiday season is back. I got a Christmas tree. I'm super excited about that. I have a job now, so we're balling out of control. I got an 8 foot
Yeah.
tree this year.
Oh,
Like I've had the
excuse
little
me.
Charlie Brown for a while, and now I got an 8 foot.
Live treat.
But
We're going live.
no, that's next year. That's when I'm a little
Okay.
bit more comfortable. Like I drove by this dad in like a Ford Explorer, and he had
Yeah.
the actual
Mm.
tree like lashed to the roof. And as I drove past him, like the look on his face was one of like such satisfaction. He had the
Yeah.
plaid shirt on and everything. He was like leaned back. He was so happy to
Wow.
have that tree on the top
Yeah.
of his car. That's gonna be me next year. I'm gonna have
It
the
is
real
it
shit.
is
Hell yeah.
cool. It is cool. I remember it hanging out the back of the Escape and then the car just smelling like pine needles
Yeah.
for fucking months afterwards.
Yeah,
Christmas
we used to
lasts
get it
into
from
March.
from church. We used to get them from church. Like our church used to have a lot, and it was like it was pretty cool. Like we used to get that, and we had the little tray and stuff underneath it. But then we have a fake tree in my apartment, but it's like lugging a real tree into like an apartment complex is some crackhead
Is
shit.
is no,
It's
no,
two
no,
brand
that's
too.
pretty.
Two brand, dude.
Yeah,
That's
so it
pretty
literally would count as a
baller.
second print. So
Yeah.
I'd be. That's true. I don't think
I
it
wanna-
would pass
yeah.
inspection. Yeah.
I want to cut one down in the forest so bad one day. I know it's illegal. I don't care, dude. We live in Oregon. There's a trillion trees out here.
You
I just
can't
wanna
cut
go.
trees down?
Is it
I mean,
wait, what?
they'll get you on some bullshit charge, but they'll
Get
never
like a
find out
little
too.
Get
What are
like
they
a little
gonna?
baby Doug fur.
Yeah,
Just cut
just
that
go out
shit
there, drive
down.
off like Eben
Dude.
does. You know, like Eben will go to Mount Hood and just
Yeah.
fucking. I'm not saying he cuts down trees, but just go out there
Dude,
and
that guy's
Yeah.
pictures, like that guy's life is pretty incredible. Like he
Yeah.
was looking for Matsutake the other day,
yeah.
and I'm obsessed with Matsutake. I don't know if you guys have read The Mushroom at the End of the World by Anna
No.
Lowenhaupt Singh. It's this
Oh,
really awesome book. It's like
gotta get
it's
that
kind
down.
of like libtarded climate change type shit, but it's like the
Mhm.
Matsutake is a metaphor for something that's able to grow in a scorched earth kind of thing.
Yeah.
And
Mhm.
she follows the entire, like, from the people who picked the Matsutake to the whole, like, the worldwide trade of it. It's awesome. And the big picture of it is that she's showing kind of what she calls a rhizomatic communication structure, like where people, like the mushrooms communicate rhizomatically, obviously,
Mhm.
through the soil,
Obviously.
but
Yeah.
that manifests itself the next level up with the people who deal with it and how they influence each other's lives in these subtle ways without ever technically meeting each other. It's a good book.
Yeah.
I know
Yeah.
y'all like are looking for something to read, right? Like you
Yeah,
got
I
Yeah,
don't.
exactly.
Yeah, I've got nothing back here. Yeah, it's nothing. Nothing
I'll
going
defend
on.
the 2006 era lib environmental shit to the day I
dude,
die.
Donna
I
Haraway,
yeah,
like
come on,
making
man. It's
Kin and
like
the Cthulhu scene, Staying with the Trouble, like all those books are my shit. If you
yeah,
take the climate change part out of it, I
yeah,
think
it just got a little out of control there. For
yeah.
it went too far in that shit.
Mhm.
All the basics are good. Like, hey, let's treat the earth with respect.
They don't
And
pick
it's
up trash anymore. Like
no,
that's
Yeah.
the thing. You never see them picking up trash. It bothers the hell out of me. They're fine with just trash everywhere,
because they
and
think the
that's
Earth's gonna melt in 10 years. So
yeah.
why would you?
Yeah,
It's like
that's the
why?
thing they punt on is just like, oh well,
Yeah,
climate. I mean, obviously Exxon Mobil is gonna ruin everything. And you're like, dude, there's
That was a huge
yeah,
meme that I started seeing pop up about
yeah,
7 or 8 years ago, where it's like, it's not my responsibility to do anything. These big
yeah,
companies should do something. I'm like,
yeah,
oh, cool. Right, right, right. Yeah. Of
yeah.
course, everything is never your fault or responsibility.
It's
So
the opposite of
climate
every
change
spiritual tradition.
endorses big capitalism.
oh,
I think that's
100%.
why the oil companies take over. They're not threatened by it at all. They're like, yeah, we're down with climate change, because they know it's all part of the same thing, and
Mm,
yeah, they're not picking up trash. It's the opposite of literally every spiritual wisdom master teaching ever of, hey, just make your own life and environment better, and then the world will be better. That's kind of the main
yeah.
Gandhi, right? All that shit, Jesus, all that stuff,
That's exactly what the
and it's
elites want you to do is clean up the trash in your yard. Nope.
yeah,
Yeah, that's
exactly.
I'm
Yeah.
not falling for that. I'm gonna yell at a guy with a truck. That's
Yeah.
what
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
gonna do. Hmm.
Yeah.
Something really funny about trash being everywhere. So a town that I'm from in Norman, Oklahoma, where OU is, right?
Shout out,
Nice.
they're dominating Alabama tonight. Just letting you guys know.
Hell yeah.
At
Yeah.
Norman,
Underdogs, right?
dominating
Underdogs.
Alabama at Norman. It's crazy.
Let's go.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Hmm.
So that Cleveland County was the only county in 2020 that went blue in Oklahoma. You guys have
Mm.
probably seen the map of Oklahoma
Yeah.
this year. It's a little different.
Yeah.
But like what
Yeah.
happened, I lived there at the time and the Democrats won and they got a Democrat mayor in. And they immediately, first thing they did, they're like, we are quadrupling the amount of homeless shelters that we have in this town, right? We're just bringing the homeless in. And it's really funny because the town, in the short span that I actually lived there, for that one period, I lived there much longer when I was going to OU, but for this period of my life, I was there for about a year. You could see it get worse and when like the trash pile up and the
Yeah.
crackheads start to flood. And
Yeah.
pretty much immediately, like 2024, all that shit is out the door. There's like
Yeah.
all those people got voted out immediately. But it's just weird to me that that's what happens, right? Like you see San Francisco, you see Portland,
Mhm.
all those stupid cities, right? But you had like this very interesting case study in Oklahoma where they said, okay, for 4 years, we'll try blue. And everything like I started getting calls at the business because like people need bars on their windows now because
Yeah.
people are breaking into weed shops and
Mhm.
fucking shitting on the streets. And it's just
Mhm.
instantly what happens when a Democrat gets elected. Everything goes to shit.
It's like
Why not?
Lebowski, dude. The bums lost, dude. It's like the Dems lost, dude. They fucking
It's literally that. I bet that's been like
Yeah.
my mood the whole time. It's like just get a
Yeah.
fucking job. Like
Yeah.
it's hard. Like there's so many people that are mortgaging their happiness for like politics right now, and I'm like, can you just go get a job? Like, you realize like you can make yourself happy. Like, we've been able to make ourselves happy for the long and sad. We've been able to do
Yeah.
both things. We've kind of been the architects of our rise and fall for many years, like until now. I feel like everybody thinks it's something else now. Even people that are like bootstraps people, they're like they very much less than the Democrats, but they're kind of just like, well, I mean, you see that Israel, and you're just like, well, all right, yeah. I mean, yeah, if you
Yeah.
want to watch videos of kids dying all day, I mean, yeah, I'd be sad too. I probably wouldn't care about anything, but I'm not gonna watch those.
I'm not gonna lie,
Yeah.
this is gonna sound bad, but I found out recently that there's lots of like Call of Duty GoPro videos of the Ukraine shit going on, and I'm very
Mhm.
curious to go hunt those videos down and just see what's going, just because I'm fascinated by that kind of shit.
It's honestly a part of me is it's such a weird war because it's
Hmm.
literally cell phone. It's like a cell phone video war, and it
Hmm.
just
It
looks
is.
fake. It's like it
It's like
doesn't hit.
E-bombs. It's like an E-bombs world war.
Yeah, yeah, dude. It doesn't seem real. Seriously, someone's head is getting blown off, but you're like, huh, well, look at
Yeah.
that. It's kind
You
of
guys remember
it's
that like E-Bombs
yeah.
World game where you could punch Osama bin Laden
Yeah.
and it played that
Yeah,
Yeah.
song
dude.
like
Oh,
"Kick your ass, then we're gonna go home."
yes.
Yeah, that game was fucking tight, dude. And
Yeah.
Played that a
Newgrounds,
lot.
Newgrounds had a lot of that shit too. There
Hmm.
was
Yeah.
Come,
like the
Mr. Taliban, turn
yeah,
over Bin Laden.
yeah.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
was sick, dude.
We were all
Oh,
doing the
fuck.
same shit.
Dude, there was like five things to do in our childhood. Like there, and it was so sick. Like,
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
but Glenn, something that we were talking about before you showed up was and apparently you guys have been talking about it in this chat as well, is the argument that people who listen to audiobooks
oh,
are not actually
Yeah.
reading has reared its head again. It's something that seems to pop up every 6 months to a year. And basically what we were talking about is how, I've read thousands of books. I've listened to at least 100 audiobooks. There's no noticeable difference to me at the end of it in terms of like retention. I do like reading,
yeah, yeah.
uh, but in terms of, I mean, I guess it depends on what you mean by like, do you mean actually like reading words with your eyes or listening to words with your ears? I feel like a sustained sequence of words that you have to digest and process is kind of what we mean by reading, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I am actually like an inclusivity guy for reading. Like, I think there's so many people that are, no, you need to sit there with fucking Gravity's Rainbow. You need to sit there and read it and stuff. It's like, yeah, but if I read Gravity's Rainbow on Kindle, I can highlight words and find out what that means. Instead, these people are going, no, I understood everything in that book because obviously I'm a genius. And there's this like this kind of like elitism, moral superiority to people just like, I sit down and read the book. Yeah, if I didn't work, I would love to do that. Sit down with these books all day. But guess what I do if I'm reading Thomas Pynchon Gravity's Rainbow and I see that, okay, I'm already looking at like three things I don't understand on this one page that I opened up. I would take my phone out and look up what those things mean, and then I'm on my phone and I'm lost in the vortex. With audiobooks and Kindle, because these people, same thing, people rally against the Kindle, which they think the Kindle is like social media, which is really
Yeah.
weird. And I'm like,
Really?
no, it's like a
What's their
calculator.
argument for that?
Well, it's a screen. So I'm like, yeah,
Oh,
but it's like a calculator screen. Like it's not
it's
a
a paperwhite,
fucking,
dude.
yeah,
It's
I
different.
love it.
Paperwhite,
I
dude.
love it.
Yeah.
It's that is I to be honest, I retain more information because I'm able to highlight and make notes. And for like Gain of Fiction, the Kindle episodes that I have are really good because it's all archived with like notes. Half the time I'm like gay, like or something, on the thing, but it's whatever. That stuff is cool, but I'm like, no, everybody that reading is reading. Like it's just do it. And I think there's like this weird moral superiority that people think they're doing. And it's weird when somebody on Twitter is telling me that. It's like,
Yeah.
no, you're
That's the thing.
on Twitter
Like
telling
you
me
posted
Yeah.
that the
10,000
screen is the
times this month.
problem. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Like it's just you're posting like weird bait things that like are like engagement bait and stuff. It's like you're obviously not even doing the thing that you're like championing right now. And for me, I'm reading three books at once right now. I wouldn't do that with like three physical books. I can't do that. Like I just it's tough
What are
for
you
me to
reading?
do. Right now, I just about to finish Inherent Vice.
Ooh, that's a good one.
It is really good. I was just about to
Mhm.
finish it. I love Pynchon, so he's fun, and that's his most. That's like a fun, like kind of like dessert Pynchon book too, like where
Yeah.
he doesn't torture you at all,
Yeah.
really at all. So, which also is kind of a flaw to it in my opinion, because
Hmm.
I realized I like when he tortures me, and
Hmm.
but then rereading on audio. For rereading, audiobooks are fantastic too. LA Confidential for another podcast, James Elroy, and then on Kindle I picked up there's this chick named Emilia Russo who's
Hmm.
her book Vivienne. It's really good. I highly
Hmm.
recommend it. And for me, I just that's one I just read in bed, like because it's like that's
Was
another thing
she
about the
on
Kindle.
Contain?
I think so. I haven't listened to
Yeah,
that show,
that
but
name
I
sounds
think so.
familiar.
Yeah,
Yeah.
she's like really into astrology and stuff, and she wrote a book about like
Yeah, she's smart as shit. Yeah,
an
yeah.
artist
Her
who's
and
80 years old who gets like their work canceled by like a gallery and stuff, but the woman's already like past the point of making art ever again, but her daughter's really concerned with her mom getting canceled, and then but her daughter's a mess and like licking her own period blood and stuff. Very, I mean, it's really good.
that's tight. That's really tight. Yeah, no, she did a series with Barrett on Contain about Byung-Chul Han,
Okay.
and it was really good. She's
Yeah.
really smart. I haven't checked that one out yet, but yeah, no, I feel like we can set a definitive definition for what reading is here now, which is the sustained engagement with a long form story.
Yes. Perfect.
That's it. That's it.
Eh,
And that separates it from movies, right? Because movies tend to top out unless it's that who's that? Is his name Fast? The German guy who made
oh,
like the 12-hour movies.
Rainier Fassbender.
Yeah,
Yeah.
not my thing.
Never seen anything, man.
But yeah, I mean most movies are like 2 hours, they're visual, sort of
Hmm.
passive. I mean, I do think one of the reasons why podcasts have taken off the way that they have is because the putting headphones in or having it on in your car, you do get absorbed in it in a similar way to a book.
Hmm.
Um, but it's totally different than like this visual
Sure.
scrolling, quick, fast images. Like the similarities between reading and listening are that there's nothing flashing in your eyes while you're doing it.
Hmm.
That's the key thing. You're either looking at a page, whether it's on a screen or not, it's not flashy, or listening to it, you're just getting words and being forced to sit with them and absorb them and make sense of them. So people who look down on audiobooks, like, bro, you're missing
Al-
out.
Also, here's my thing. Okay, as authors, and you guys can definitely answer this too. I don't know why authors, maybe they are doing this, but authors who write their book, the first thing I would budget for is an audiobook. Like I thought I was
100%.
gonna release. Like it would be something that I'm like, okay, I'm gonna spend money on my cover. That was why I picked up that Vivienne book. The cover was sick. I was like, that's really cool. I didn't even know
Right.
what it was about. I was like, I'm gonna get this. This looks cool. She
Right.
seems smart. And I was like, this sounds cool. So but then I would hire I don't know how you do it, but I would probably do my own personally, but like otherwise I would look to contract somebody. I'm sure there's people whose services are out there, and that's what I would spend my money on, more so than even like touring with it that much. Like I would make sure I have that, because for me to read, if somebody wants me to read their book, I have my own thing that I'm doing. That's how I could incorporate it in there. And I want to listen to independent authors more and stuff. Like I feel bad that I haven't read a J. David Osborne book. I feel really bad. Like I feel really bad. I've read
The
one of
next
Kelby's
one's
book
gonna have an audiobook. Like
and
I'm
yeah,
doing exactly what you're talking about because you're
right.
100% right. Like
And
you
Kelby,
need
I
There
read,
are
I,
there are
yeah,
two with audiobooks right now on
yeah,
there
patreon.com/agitated.
nice.
that's true. That's true. But as much as I like those books, I want to start with this one. I want to start people with this new one. And
Mm,
it's thick, it's chunky. The audiobook will be like 12 hours or something like that. Because I think that that's a big thing too when you're scrolling and you got that credit. You want the book that's like plus 10 hours.
And
Like you don't want to
narrated
use
by
yeah,
a
your
man who sounds like this.
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, dude, the
Yeah.
I got
James.
this book that Jay recommended to me, Exordia by I think Scott Dickinson, and it's really
Mhm.
cool so far, but it's narrated by a woman.
Mm.
Rough. It's brutal.
Mm.
It's
You know,
brutal.
the William Gibson novel that I finally hated was narrated by a woman.
Brutal.
So
The
I
wo-
stopped. I
they-
stopped. I stopped Killers of the Flower Moon because it was a woman. It was like a woman AI voice, it was the Osage went over here, and oh my gosh, she died. Oh man, found her in a ditch. Like, you're like this.
Dude, I've done a
It
few
just
books
The
like
Trail
that.
of Tears by Glen Rockney.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Osage.
Prayer of Tears. Yeah. What's the William Gibson we did? What's the one we did?
Pattern
Pattern.
recognition.
Yeah, that was a woman one, and it was honestly pretty good because she
Well,
does the
that's
fake.
Casey Pollard, though. I mean, that makes
Oh,
sense.
okay,
Casey
yeah.
Pollard. No, I mean that's the character's name. It's a woman, so it's like
Yeah,
that makes
yeah.
sense.
Well, and it's funny because they do the fake Japanese voices, which make the whole book. Which,
Oh yeah.
what's his
Dude,
name? Taki? Is it Taki?
Yeah, the guy,
in
the guy who falls for like the fake catfish
Yeah.
girl. Yeah, yeah.
Early
it's great.
2000s audiobooks go crazy when there's a black character on there.
Elroys are
Like-
crazy.
Yeah.
Elroys are nuts, dude. The Chinese goes,
Yeah.
I pay already. I pay. like the and he's like, shut up, you fucking zipper head. Like, they're like, it's like the Elroy ones, and the guy's like acting it out, and they're like, you could tell it was 2000s book on tape. Like, they're like, dude, let it fly. Like do the voice. Like, yeah. It was like Jeff Dunham, like puppet voices. Like, it was amazing.
oh hell yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, exactly. Yeah, because Elroy has those like comically racist characters that are really funny. And but yeah, like I guess what I'm saying is I would spend on that, and I'm gonna put this out here because I know you guys have a lot of writers that listen to your show. My project in the winter, I think I'm gonna do is I'm gonna narrate short stories, read short stories, and put them out like an album.
Ooh. I
So
like that.
I have a couple already from some people that I'm gonna do. Obviously, you guys, I would love to something. It could be old. It doesn't have to be like an original short story. It could be something that you guys already have and stuff. I already talked to Kelby. I think Kelby's I'd love to do chicken and waffles because that is a great story.
Hell yeah.
And I can do some fun voices too. But then but I'm putting it out there. So if you guys have short stories, rarecandyindustries@gmail.com, talk to me because I want to do that. Like and then we can just release it, and that would be fun to do. And that's something
God,
people
that's
can
so
take
smart.
with. You put it out like a podcast. It can be
That's so
fun.
smart. And that's the way to do it, right? Between episodes of horsing around and
Mhm.
talking about how COVID is fake, drop some fucking short stories in there.
Yeah.
I'm being dead serious
No,
too.
I know,
Like, that's the
this-
way to do
yeah.
it. That
That-
like the
yeah.
pomp and circumstance of the literary community and the release dates and making
Yeah.
sure that the blurbs are good. It's like no, like I mean, if you think about like the pinnacle of podcasting right now, like if Joe Rogan for whatever reason his Genghis Khan barbarian focus went to books
Yeah.
and short stories and stuff, people would read again. Like it would be overnight, books would start selling again. So in our own ways, tears down, like we can do that.
Yeah, I hate this idea that somebody's sitting there with their book and like, this is my precious book, and whoever stumbles upon it's going to be so rewarded and stuff. It's like, no, the fascistly pump that into people's
Fucking
minds.
sell.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Sell the
like
book.
like
Yeah.
U2, like you do the U2. It's already on your phone
Mhm.
through an RSS feed.
I did the yeah, fuck it. I'll just say I did that. My Substack's gonna be taken down tomorrow, but whatever. Yeah, I broke the whole. Did these people agree to? Yeah, sure they did. Of course they
Yeah.
did. Here's every email I've accumulated ever in my life.
Wait, they're
Upload that
taking it
shit.
down?
No, I mean, if they find out, they could. But
Oh,
just-
right.
I just
Oh
took,
yeah,
like,
everybody
thousands
in
of
the chat did
emails
that. Yeah, we
and
took
dumped
every
them.
email we've ever gotten and put them into our Substack. Like,
Oh, yeah.
yeah,
Yeah,
who
no,
cares?
exactly.
Just click
Yeah.
unsubscribe. It's not hard. Like,
Yeah.
don't
Yeah.
be mad about it.
But like reading out just like a short story or something like that, and it's from a bunch of different flavors, and I think that's a good way to do it. And people want audio, and that's people like to travel. People go on hikes. People commute. They commute, especially in California. Everyone commutes, and all that. Like that's a good way. It's a good way to do it. And like I said, that the offer's out to anybody. I mean, I might
Well,
not
that
pick
sounds.
everything. Yeah.
I mean, that sounds badass. I mean, books are back the same way that Christmas is back, in my
Mhm.
opinion. I can feel it.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I think the next 10, 20 years are going to be incredible for books. People are hungry for them.
I think the same thing about like authors' resistance against audiobooks and that investment for their end of it, I think has been that initial return. A lot of authors most authors have like little faith in their product. So they're just like, I just want to trick you into buying it and get that money.
Hmm.
And audiobooks are not a good way to make quick money off of it because it costs a lot to produce and
Yeah,
then you make nothing really off of any of
for
it.
sure.
But it's like, I don't, they don't understand the culture of just when you have something good, most people are listening to audiobooks, and there's a lot of people who just want to own the shit, but they want to listen to it. So they buy it for the shelf and then they just the
Right.
audiobooks on Spotify or whatever, and they go and listen to it.
I
I do
mean,
that with Kindle sometimes too. Like I'll read it on my Kindle, like the Gravity's Rainbow. I'm not when I read that, I'm not reading it on that paper copy that I have, but I love that I have a paper copy of it, you know.
hmm hmm.
Mhm.
And if you buy books multiple times, that's fantastic. Another thing about audiobooks that was really interesting in the past few years, um, there's a guy called Travis Baldree
Mm.
who narrated a series of books by an author named Will White called the Cradle series, and that reader blew up. And so people like he became like this little like this star within this community where if you could get him to read your book, like we'll pay him to read your book, like it
Mhm.
was guaranteed like 50, 60,000 copies of it.
Damn.
So that's another thing too, is that there will be people who emerge in the sphere as the go-to readers of these books.
Glenn,
And
you
I
got to
think
get
that's a
in on that,
cool,
dude. Yeah, everyone's
I
voices. I mean,
want
cool
well,
Kelby, you
little
already
part
mini
did
of it
it,
economy.
dude.
part of it is me getting better and contracting myself out to hopefully like that could be my next gig, you know. So everything I do is not always the saint for uplifting authors. No, I want this to be my job
Your
eventually.
portfolio, your
And
resume
yeah,
portfolio is
yeah,
just
no, it's
like
for me.
Asian
It's for
voice
me.
one, Asian voice
Yeah.
two, Mexican
Yeah.
voice. Yeah, it's just yeah.
When I get
We're
when
back, dude.
construction slows down, I will be doing. I need to do some more voiceover stuff to just be like, hey
Keep
guys,
fresh.
if you guys need, you know, this voice, I got you and stuff. But yeah,
Oh,
Yeah.
damn.
exactly.
Do you want to do mine?
I hey, I mean, I don't know when the fuck I'll get it done because I work, but yeah, yeah,
Oh
exactly. I'm
shit.
not. That's but yeah, I
I
would
read
do
your
it.
JDO. I read your post about plot and Crichton. Make it, you reading
Mhm.
Crichton and wanting to,
Oh
learn
yeah.
honing your craft on
Yeah.
and not and learning shoring up the things your weaknesses and the strengths and stuff. I like that. I like that little rant that you
Thanks,
did.
dude. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. There was kind of a thing going on because my first book came out when I was 23 and
Yeah.
I was a complete shithead.
Hmm.
I'm like a half shithead
No,
now, but I mean
you don't
at
say, dude. No,
20
just kidding.
at
Yeah.
23, I mean, I was just like, so imagine this, there's like a cool, like pretty decently well uh read group of people who are kind of like making waves, right?
Yeah.
And I mean, we have like people
I,
like Mark Z, Daniel. Yeah, there it
I
is. There it
copied. I
is.
copied that. I'm straight. I straight jacked that 50 Shades of Grey, Da Vinci
Dude,
Code.
it's
Fucking
super important. It's super important. And so like at 23 in 2010, we've got like, Chuck Palahniuk and Mark Z. Danielewski and Will Christopher Bear, all these authors are like kind of circling around this group and we're thinking like, holy shit, what we're gonna take off. Like this is huge. And so my first book comes out and sells like 5,000 copies, which is like enormous for that little sphere, right?
Yeah.
But what that does to a 23-year-old's brain is make
Oh
you
yeah.
think like, oh, I don't have to do anything anymore. Like
Yeah.
I got
Yeah.
this
Yeah.
shit figured out. And I'm 37 now, so almost 15 years later, I'm kind of like, it kind of stunts you in a weird way, right? Like you wrote this one thing and a lot of people like it, and I think it's good. It's a good book, but at the same time, it's like you got to try to get better, buddy. Like you're
Yeah.
not Michael Crichton, you're not Thomas Harris, you're not these dudes who can make you consistently turn a page. And there's something to it. And so I got really
Yeah.
I'll post more about that uh
I
over
I think that
the next few weeks.
if I could add just some like personal just some feedback to I think what could happen because you know you're still young for a writer. That's the beauty of it. You're not like a pro athlete or something where you'd be
Mhm.
retired at 37.
Yeah.
What I'd say is like let's say like you're like 42 or something like that, and like you're at a motel, right? And then some like 16-year-old girl comes up, and she has a gun, and and she like comes up to you and she's just like, "What's up, mister? You want to sign my copy of your first book?" that's not in print that nobody has, you know?
Yeah.
And then
Bro, she's a
and then
victim.
you
A
yeah,
victim, dude. It's fucking,
yeah.
come on.
And then I
Yeah.
think then you will have your inspiration for the rest of your career.
I'd be like, you want to sign these bed sheets? What's up?
Yeah. It's like
With cum? How would you sign it?
yeah.
How
Yeah.
would you sign it?
Oh, you're finished? Well, so will I. Mhm.
Yeah.
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 Did
Bro,
you
just
guys-
horsing, dude. All the pretty horsing, dude. He's just
Yeah.
horsing.
Did you
Yeah.
guys
Yeah.
did you guys read that article like all the way through?
No, all the way through.
There were a couple paragraphs that I realized didn't matter. Like, and I've read it like that. I was like, that paragraph doesn't matter, and I skipped it. Like 'cause that was how shitty that like guy's writing style was. It was the most that I don't use the P word much. P word pretentious is behind emergency glass for me to use because I think it's overused a lot, especially in writing, which I think is this deeply personal. Like, you should be pretentious a little bit as a
There's
writer.
pretense to what
Yeah.
you're doing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there you go. I guess that's
Boom.
where that word comes from. I
Yeah.
I just figured
Yeah.
that out. But the damn, yeah. Fucking wow.
This is Running Corner with
yeah.
Ren Rockney.
Fuck. Holy shit, dude. Yeah. Damn. Yeah, that's like my like stoner conversations when I was 23, dude. But
Yeah.
anyways, that was so pretentious because the dude was like writing prose. Like he was writing his own as a McCarthy fan, like his own McCarthy novel.
Yeah.
About Cormac McCarthy doing statutory rape.
Yeah, and he's a grad student, dude. I feel bad for the guy.
Yeah,
It's kind of
I do
like a
too.
different version of
Yeah.
what we're talking about, where like you are way too young to be put in this position where this much weight is put on you to write this thing. I just want to start with the first paragraph here. And
Yeah.
I did read the whole thing, so I can talk about it. It's really funny.
Yeah.
I'm about to tell you the craziest love story in literary history.
Damn.
And before you ransack the canon for a glamorous rebuttal, I'm already cringing, dude. Like that's bad. I must warn you, its preeminence is conclusive. You know what? Actually, I'm gonna stop right there. That's good enough. But
I feel
come
no,
on.
I feel
I blame the
bad for
editors
him.
here, dude. Like,
It's
who let that
crazy.
go?
How do you my whole thing is like, what if this is your peak? Is like
Yeah.
your Vanity Fair article about Cormac. That's the sad thing. And the guy, who's the guy that disowned his work, because of the Cormac McCarthy, an
Gwen,
analyst, super fan.
Oh,
guy.
Aaron
Yeah,
that's like-
Gwynn. Yeah,
we're in
yeah.
Gwen
And it's not trying to
Sanity,
hate on him.
yeah.
It's like, it's just like, it's always weird when you're like the jazz critic or the that kind of thing where
Yeah.
you're clearly in the know, but you're always in that null space.
It's kind of
So-
like being a professional beta, like
yes,
that's
dude, yes, yeah.
I just
that's what I'm
laugh
saying.
because like that dude and I he's friends with like Art of Darkness guys, like, and those are the boys and everything, and I understand, like, he seems like to me like a decent guy and stuff, but for me to give up on my favorite writer,
that's it. Yeah.
Let's say
Immediately.
let's say that Michael
Immediately.
yeah, upon accusation by a dork like
Bro,
journalist.
anybody who fucked Michael Crichton was 100% willing. That dude was 6'7" and probably had a huge dick. Like,
Dude,
they
if
don't
Michael-
care, bro.
I wouldn't
This
care if
bitch
Michael
is 64.
Yeah,
and she's
I
just
know.
like, oh
Yeah.
yeah, McCarthy.
When
yeah,
I'm
there's that."
64. Yeah,
Like-
but when I was if Michael Crichton had 50 terabytes of child pornography on his computer, like, and it was him, like the pictures of him writing Jurassic Park, but it's like that happening in the background, I'd be like, well, what am I supposed to do? Throw the books away? Like writing's about the process. I don't know what his process is, and that could have been research. Yeah, like, I don't
that's
care.
disclosure, man. That's
Yeah.
that's
Dude,
Yeah,
I
dude.
would like. I'm not saying I wouldn't care. I'd be like, damn, that guy's a freak. Anyways, I'm about to read Rising Sun, or something like. Bro, I still like Roman Polanski a lot. You know,
Oh, bro.
like
Rosemary's Baby is one of the greatest movies of all
he's a
time.
monster.
I would
mean,
I would look up halfway through my like third reread of Congo and then just look back down at the book and be
Yeah.
like, it's still a banger, dude. I
Yeah.
can't-
no, and here's the thing: it makes it more of a banger. Nobody wants to admit that, but you're like, damn, like a fucking freak wrote this sick ass book.
Yeah.
It's like it's cool. It's a house somebody got murdered in. Everybody wants to go to a house somebody got murdered in. Like, that's the house somebody got murdered in. It's like,
Mhm.
you don't want to get murdered in the house.
Y'all
No.
heard YNW Melly that Murder on My Mind
Yeah,
song.
yeah, where he like snitches on himself. Yeah, the whole
Yes, I
yeah,
mean that's like going into a murder house. Like that song, if he
yeah.
didn't do anything and he just wrote this song, it'd be like whatever. I mean, it's catchy, but it has a feel to it because it's like you really killed this dude and then just sang about it and then thought you weren't gonna go to prison, or maybe he did. No, I don't know. That dude's crazy.
I just to me like I'm like, dude, you to do that much research on Cormac McCarthy. For anyone who doesn't know what we're
Yeah.
talking about, like Aaron Gwynn has a Blood Meridian Substack that is paywalled, and I scoured it when we did our Blood Meridian episode. He has a lot of really cool stuff on there. It's like there's really good research. He's done like he's done basically he's a tenured professor that's done just thesis upon every all his work seems to be centered around him, Hemingway and Faulkner, and people like that, but mainly McCarthy. And I don't even spend half that time on my favorite authors, and I would defend them over anything, like literally anything.
Mhm.
Even if they hated me, even if they punched me in the face in person, I'd be like, yeah,
Yeah.
but dude, I got socked by fucking Michael Crichton, like
Yeah. That's
I'd be,
crazy.
these people are like elevated to me, and dude, first off, we're talking about like a fucking 17-year-old girl. Like that's
Mhm.
the
That's
writers,
my very
that.
first thing
Like who
was
gives a
like
Yeah.
shit? Like
Come on,
we
dude.
you need a different word. It's not
yeah,
pedophilia. You need a different word for
Yeah.
that shit. I
Well,
mean,
there
my
are, and let
grandparents
me
were
let me
getting
break it
married at
down for you here
16.
now.
yeah,
Thank you, Video. You have the
yeah.
floor. Yeah. That's my
No,
thing where we were talking about the day where it's just like, bro, it's like, and also you don't have to condone. It's also like, yeah, I don't condone that, I guess, but also I don't give a shit. Like I do not care. And I'm
Dude,
sorry,
yeah.
he wrote about
yeah.
this is Cormac McCarthy. He wrote about babies getting their skulls smashed open, dude. It's like, whoa,
It
you fucked a 17-year-old
Inspired by
There's
girl.
who?
something that's
Inspired
really
by whom?
funny.
Yeah,
Yeah.
dude.
There's something that's really funny in the like the horror community, which is
Oh,
living a
yeah.
double life right now, where the biggest authors are guys who write about. I'm not making this up. In one of the books, a guy
Yeah.
takes like a frozen turd out of his freezer and like fucks his mom with it.
Yeah. First of all, that's just really
She was
cold.
of age though.
She was
Yeah.
of age. Yeah,
So he would
had to
never do
be.
that. Yeah, he wouldn't do it to a minor. Yeah.
But then a lot of these authors are getting canceled because girls who are oddly attracted to this kind of writing
Yeah.
are like, he DM'd me some pretty sketchy stuff. And
The Rick and Morty guy, right? The DM.
Justin
Yeah,
Roiland.
right.
yeah,
Yeah, why
dude.
would
Oh
I make
yeah,
Rick and
he's
Morty if
kind
I
of the
couldn't?
Cormac McCarthy of sitcoms, if you think
Yeah,
about it. Like
he was.
he's-
Yeah,
Why? And like to me, I'm like, obviously I made Rick and Morty. Obviously, this is why I made Rick and Morty.
yeah,
yeah.
Like,
yeah.
I'm in like, there's that. Have you seen those blog posts? I don't know if I sent it to you guys, but I put it in our Discord. But there was like a George R. Martin used to blog a lot, like back in the day. He used to have
Oh
like
yeah, yeah, yeah. He had
all
some
his
horny
stuff would
Hilarious.
be like,
blogs.
fuck
Yeah.
this bitch. I fuck this bitch at the sci-fi convention. And they were like hard fives and sixes, but it was like, he was a volume
Dude.
shooter.
But he'd be
And he would,
like in the
Volume
picture
shooter, dude.
too, he was like he's a 2 or a 3, right?
yeah,
Like
no, yeah.
he's
There's
looking
still,
rough.
they're
Like George R.
W's.
R.
Yeah.
Martin has never been handsome
And all those
in his
girls have
life.
the
It's
the biggest grins on their faces too. I
Yeah.
noticed that,
Best
dude.
day of their
It's-
life. Yeah. Best day of their life.
for this
And
guy who at the time I don't think he was even writing A Song of Ice and Fire yet. He was still
Damn.
like a sci-fi writer at that point, I
Night
think.
Flyers or whatever. Was that?
Yeah.
Yeah. He was writing that shit, I think.
Yeah,
Like
and
stuff
and
like
they're
that.
and he's getting pussy off that. Like
Dude.
Damn.
it's the best possible life.
And
Honestly, in a lot of
for a
ways,
nerd to get to
when you
be
look
just,
back at
yeah.
writers, there's a lot of things where you're like, damn, that shit must have been so sick. Like
Yes.
you fucking
Yeah.
you
know.
read some PKD and you're like, I can do this too. And the next thing you know, you're in a fucking Marriott in Atlanta, fucking a 5.5, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Upgrade. Upgrade.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Life is good.
Yeah, yeah, covered the spread, covered the 5.5 point spread. But
Yeah. That's all it
the
takes.
but the Cormac thing, the fakest part about that article is the fact that she had a copy of The Orchard Keeper. Not real. That is not real. There's no way that book was out of print by that time. So, and she said she bought it from like a dime paperback in a store and stuff. I'm like, there is no way that this 16-year-old like foster girl who's been like abused at home was just like, I'm buying this book that no one read at the time. I just don't agree. I don't think that happened. I think it was total fan fit. Like that. I don't doubt that they had a relationship. I don't even. That's why that's the worst position is that, yeah, that was bad, but I'm like, was it? It was bad.
I mean,
Yeah.
two things I judge people I don't know on. One, what was the result? What I mean, she seems fine. Two,
Yeah.
what the parties actually involved do? Like, what did anybody do about anything? That was my thing, even with the R. Kelly shit. I was like, why are these parents not stringing him
Selling
up
their
by his
kids
balls?
and
Yeah.
selling
Right.
their kids to him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
'Cause
Well,
it's well,
she talks about that in the article. Real quick before we get to that, I just want to point out that in this author's attempt to show that Cormac was kind of like a wild man, it's like there are known years of drinking immortalized in his fourth novel, Sutri, and his efforts to reintroduce wolves into southern Arizona in the 80s. In 1996, a neighbor poured
That's
through his
pretty
trash.
wild. I'm
Listen to
gonna
this.
round up some wolves and put them
Yeah.
back in the state.
Dude.
Listen to this.
Alpha.
In 1996, a neighbor poured through his trash in El Paso and found junk mail from the Republican National Committee.
Oh.
No. Barry
Not Cormac,
Goldwater,
dude.
Cormac.
Yeah.
God
Oh,
damn.
yeah,
Some
exactly.
Republican
God.
mail. To Kelby's point, though, throughout the entire article, what's really interesting about it and what kind of has libtards upset about it is that the woman does say through the whole thing, she grew up in foster homes and had been abused, like not sexually, but she'd been beaten up. And that she felt safe with Cormac. But then she also like the one thing that didn't make her feel safe are the love letters that he wrote to her on napkins that he would mail to her over the years.
Yeah.
And they're all just like horny shit.
Yeah.
Like I had fun reading Cormac McCarthy's horny letters,
I
which are
know.
they're bad, dude. It's not like
What's
James
up,
Joyce
Guh?
at
I'd
least
like to bloody that meridian.
Yeah,
for
what's up?
sure. Yeah, but like
Why aren't there any
at least
commas? Yeah.
at least with James Joyce, like he kept talking about farts, like his whole thing would be
Yeah.
like, I want to smell your farts, you ugly bitch. And like that's kind of fun. But like Cormac
Yeah.
was just, thinking about you out here
Yeah.
on the road. It's
How about you sutry ass up on this dick?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Stella Maris underage. I don't know if
Yeah.
that works.
Yeah,
Maybe.
it's all right.
Uh,
They
yes.
all work. Yeah,
They all
yeah,
work. Yeah.
and but he was like, yeah, I remember one. He was like, I'm thinking about you, but it's been so long since I've seen you. There's an abstraction of you, and I want the real thing. It's like, dude, the guy.
It's like some Neil deGrasse Tyson shit, dude. That's his
Yeah,
fucking
yeah, I know. Well, Cormac
Yeah.
McCarthy, that wasn't he with like he was into like
Lawrence
Lawrence Krauss.
Yeah, he was like a
that
big.
makes sense.
Yeah,
That
it's
makes
funny.
sense. Yeah,
He was like a physics
particles.
bro.
Just a lot of
Neil
particles.
deGrasse Tyson's The Road.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Do you remember
that'd be
those
good.
do you remember those old memes where it was like the old like Renaissance painting guy where it was like
Yeah.
have some fermented alcohol beverages tonight because it is Friday, the end of the week. Like he would
Yeah.
break down like a normal human action in like really like eloquent terms.
Disregard
or
females,
something.
acquire currency kind of
Yeah,
thing.
yeah,
like
all
that.
that
Reddit
stuff.
shit.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like that's how
yeah.
his love letters were to me. Like
Yeah,
Basically,
yeah.
what's really funny is that when he was researching Blood Meridian, so this couple was really worried because the mom had called the FBI on them
Mhm.
and they were going to get them for statutory rape and the some other law, I guess, that has to do with fucking kids. But they ran to Mexico. And that's where he researched Blood Meridian. He went along the path that the dudes take in Blood Meridian while he's running with this girl, which I thought was a nice kind of funny. It'll color your view of Blood Meridian.
On
It's
the
like,
road.
damn, this is like very exact.
Real
Yeah,
Yeah,
quick,
because he was there.
when y'all were 16, did y'all fuck some of age bitches?
Yeah.
I mean,
No.
I
wasn't.
actually lost one to an older guy, like in this scenario that it was everybody warned her like, hey, that guy's like way older, and she's like, cool, and like, yeah, that's why I'm doing it. The problem was it wasn't some Chad in like a Letterman jacket from like the junior college. It was like a Magic the Gathering ass like sword store guy, and I was like, dude, how did I fucking lose to? He had a car.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like it was just like
It's like
so,
worse
you
than
saw-
finding
you
out
s-
your wife is cheating is like
yeah.
that it's a
Was
Magic
it-
the Gathering guy.
Was it the
Yeah.
guy with the fedora? Yeah, he
Yeah.
looked like Penn Jillette. Like it was just it was rough, dude. It was rough. And I was like, and you saw the process where it was like this guy didn't show up with like a fucking, like leaning like get in the van, like
Yeah.
we're
Mhm.
gonna groom you. Like it wasn't that.
I'm gonna groom.
Yeah, that's how they think this stuff is, dude. Like they
I'm
think
about
that's how
to
this.
fucking groom.
Yeah, and I'm just like, yeah, I was like, no, I've seen that happen, that process happen. Also, by the way, straight up, I think the other lie that I think she told, she had a doll named John Grady Cole. No,
No, you didn't.
no, you didn't.
No,
There's no
no.
way a 16-year-old girl names a doll John Grady Cole that later, because that's my thing is her. I don't think she's a bad person at all. Like I actually don't. I think she has nothing but really nice things to say in 37,000 word piece. Like she's pretty good to him. The piece is run as a hit piece. I don't know that it is a hit piece, but Vanity Fair picked it up because it would be a hit piece. They knew what they were doing with that. But with her, I think she was like this like taking credit for all the work. I was like, I don't know that that's true. I don't know that. Now
Right,
the No Country
right.
for Old Men scene where he meets the young girl at the hotel, absolutely, obviously
100%.
obviously that's it. But it's like, oh, and then my pet unicorn named John Grady Cole. Like, oh, okay. And then
Yeah.
my best friend had an imaginary friend named Judge Holden or something. I don't know if she said that, but just like, no, you didn't. Like,
Yeah.
that's the part. It's like he's dead. He cannot. Nobody can refute these claims. So when you're taking a recluse author, that was the thing I got mad about. I really got mad at some guy saying, "Well, I'm glad Thomas Pynchon doesn't do anything weird. Now he's going up my list." And I'm like, I love both of those guys. But first off, nobody knows anything about Thomas Pynchon.
Oh,
But
Thomas Pynchon's doing some weird shit.
once he dies,
Hmm.
somebody's gonna leak every weird Thomas Pynchon thing that ever happened. That's
Yeah.
what's gonna happen. And first off, Thomas Pynchon probably worked with the CIA. Like he knows way too much weird shit. Like there's
Mhm.
and I know he worked at like, Boeing and shit like that and probably knew a lot of
CIA,
stuff.
basically.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I guarantee you he's doing all that. But I just mean this idea that like you have this power rankings based on Vanity Fair articles. Like why are you as a man doing that? Like this
Yeah.
power
Yeah.
ranking for your authors. Oh, it made me sick.
Yeah. Power rankings are dumb. One thing that I really liked, it's a small detail from the article. I think we've pretty much covered that this bitch is lying and all of it's fake. But
And even if it's real, it doesn't matter.
it doesn't matter. Yeah. But
Women
the thing
mature
that I like the
faster than
best.
dudes. I mean, just saying.
Yeah. Oh yeah, my friend
Especially
Kelby, you asked
writers.
me about that. I want to circle back to my point, but you asked me early, like my first was this chick who was much older and lived in a trash dump, like a literal like landfill.
She was
Dal-
homeless.
Dahlgren,
And
yeah.
and yeah. She was like, I don't have a gag reflex. I was like, I'll be right there.
Yeah, you don't got a sense of smell either. Goddamn.
Dude, she lived in a trash dump, fat. I did not care. I was 15.
Yeah,
I
you
was
gotta-
like, I'm going. I'm
You
going.
gotta
I
get
gotta
one
do
off,
this.
dude. Yeah, you gotta get one off.
But no, the way that Cormac McCarthy was living before he died, I thought was a good detail in this. He had lived most of his life, I guess, being intentionally poor, right?
Mhm.
Like when I went to OU, but I also went to UTEP for like the first 2 semesters, which I failed both of those.
Nice.
And when I was at UTEP, like UTEP had the Cormac McCarthy files and letters and all this kind of stuff, and he was rumored to live somewhere nearby. So I was very interested in that. But the point is that in the early 2000s, like he was kind of living this weird hermit lifestyle. By the end of his life, he'd given that up and he was like balling out of control.
Yeah.
He bought a bunch of cars, and apparently his place in Santa Fe was just like fucking, he had Benzes, he had like car parts everywhere. He was just like modding cars in his 80s and drinking
Nice.
like a fish. And that's how he died. Just drunk all the time with a bunch of fucking cool cars. So
Yeah.
legend.
It's either
Legend.
that or you go on the suicide pod in Canada. You pick.
Yeah.
Just saying, and especially for him. I don't think he was like one of those like people talk about his like Gnosticism, but like he kind of had like a Reddit atheist element to him as well. So like,
Oh
he
no,
probably
his
was like,
spirituality was dog shit.
yeah, he was probably like, I'm literally done. Like after this, like
Mhm.
these are the last 10 years ever.
Mhm.
So that's how he lived.
Yeah.
Can you imagine too if the whole time he was like having like a thing? He's like, is this bitch gonna like fucking say something like the whole time? Like, is she gonna fucking talk about the?
He's like
fucking
watching all the
hotel?
cancellations
Yeah.
happening and
Yeah.
he's sweating. He's like,
Yeah.
oh
Yeah.
boy, Oh boy.
Yeah, he's like,
Like,
oh
no,
fuck,
we'll
she's
wait till
gonna.
you're dead.
Yeah, I know. That's my thing. You waited till he was dead. You waited till he
Yeah.
was dead. Like, and that's why, and how did, so did she reach, I didn't, is that in the article? Did she reach out to the
No,
journalist?
so what happened was the author wrote a review of The Passenger
I
on
see.
Goodreads, and she replied to it. And
Right.
This
apparently,
book is about me, actually.
well, apparently Cormac was alive at the time, and she
Okay.
tells him in the article that Cormac had her read him the Goodreads, which is just such a fun. The guy who wrote Blood Meridian is listening to a Goodreads review of his new book from his this lover that he's had for 47 years, who was 16 at the time when he met her. Uh,
Yeah.
and then the author has this passage too. I'm remembering where after that he's like, I felt like I was gonna throw up. Cormac McCarthy read my Goodreads review, and I was like, this is 2024, man. This is like straight. This is fucking garbage. Like, what are we talking about here?
Yeah, exactly. Like, yeah, dude, first off, that's peeling back the curtain too. I don't want to know that Cormac McCarthy was on Goodreads. I have
Yeah.
I suspect that he might have, but
Yeah.
I don't want to know like that he was logging in and just going like, what are they saying about my
What are they saying
novels?
about The Passenger?
I feel like I don't think,
Oh hell,
man,
like,
Yeah.
I don't even get on any of that shit. So, Cormac, like every couple of years when I want to do some, oh yeah, I could screen cap some shit that people said on Goodreads and I can use that for promo. But I don't go scouring any of my shit. Cormac
yeah,
McCarthy.
I know. Making a burner and being like, you don't know how to read, fag. Like, I did not find this review useful.
Thumbs down.
Yeah, dude. God, it's just that's what I hate. I hate this. Like, the coolest part about him is that you just didn't know a lot. And you had an Oprah interview. You'd had to go to like universities to find out certain things about him, and it was, now you're just like, oh, now it's all these people who, and guess who jumped all over this? Women who are tired of their boyfriends talking about Cormac McCarthy, which I'm sure that's a real thing. I'm sure that's a real thing where all these women are married to lit bros, another real thing. Like
It's
these these
not.
these
No.
toxic masculine guys with toxic bookshelves, with David Foster Wallace, Cormac McCarthy, and that's it. That's
I
the
mean,
bookshelf.
kind of that's kind of us, right? Like
Yeah, but we're
Yeah.
cool
we're those
though.
guys.
Like, we're cool, and our wives are cool. That's
Yeah,
the
we're
thing. Like,
happily
is there
married.
really
Yeah.
this cognitive
I was literally
dissonance?
watching David Foster Wallace on Charlie Rose before we got
Oh,
on.
dude.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and what I mean is like there's this idea that women just go, I knew he was full of shit. I knew it. And it's like, okay, lady, first off, his books aren't for you because you're gonna be worried about
But
quotation marks. So
yeah,
hold on.
well, my next Charlie Rose after that, and I'm gonna watch it because she's great, is Donna Tartt, right? I'm gonna
Yeah,
watch
yeah.
Donna Tartt on Charlie Rose.
Hmm.
Secret History. There's no male version of this. You see what I mean? Like,
Hmm.
no male is gonna do to Donna Tartt
Yeah,
what is happening to Cormac McCarthy right now. And before anybody says like, well, that's preposterous, no the fuck it's not. Like,
yeah.
we all know women who can be creepy and weird. It's a
Mhm.
Oh
thing.
yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It's a real thing.
Uh-huh.
And I kind of feel like, have you guys read Secret History?
No, I just know Donna Tartt because of what Brady Sinellis talks
Oh,
about her a
okay.
lot. Because
Okay. Okay.
They went to Bennington College together, so
Oh, right,
they
right,
talk
right.
about,
Yeah, yeah,
they
yeah.
were the two big stars from that era, I guess, that came
Right
out.
on. Right on. Well, The Secret History is fucking, it's a masterpiece.
It's tight. It's
It's
tight.
great.
Okay.
Yeah, it's super great. But like if that were to happen, I would believe it almost immediately if like a young male dude was like, yeah, Donna Tartt went to my middle school and picked me up. I'd be like, all right. But I think what's interesting
Lucky.
about that,
Yeah.
what's interesting about that though, is that like, and this is an old argument with like the teachers who have sex with the male
Yeah.
students and stuff.
Letourneau, Mary Kay Letourneau.
Nobody cares. Nobody
Yeah.
cares.
It's
And it's
very
kind of
true.
weird that nobody cares.
Yeah,
Like if
yeah.
if it came out like this dude was like Donna Tartt raped me when I was 13,
It'd be
people
like,
be
damn,
like,
dude. We'd be like,
she
"Damn,
was
you got
she was
raped by."
pretty fucking hot back then, so
You're like, "You got
it
raped
was
by
good.
Donna Tartt." Like, that's what everyone would say. And
Is
no,
that
but
is that that talk about a secret history? God damn.
imagine
But
if she had a secret boyfriend for like 40 years, and then the Vanity Fair article is not 37,000 words, it's three. I fucked her, and then that's the article, and that's it. That's the article on Donna Tartt in the Vanity Fair. The journalist, you're like, oh, there's a lot of italic introductions, and then the regular print is just I fucked her.
Oh, yeah.
oh, oh.
Yeah.
Nice.
No, that's yeah, no, I think all this stuff is like really silly, and I think that it coming out when it did, Trump won. We're entering this new
Yeah,
golden age of beautiful bliss.
Oh yeah, they're trying every wrench they can
everything.
throw. Every wrench they
But
can throw.
Yeah,
this
me
one,
too.
like the impotence of this as a hit piece, which, as Glenn pointed out, was more than likely not its purpose, but was how it was
Yeah,
used. It's over. It's over. Like
yeah.
we're past all that now. Like I don't think. Do you guys see people getting canceled post 2024?
I see attempts, right? I see
Yeah.
attempts, but yeah, it
From
doesn't.
like legit
Yeah,
stuff, like somebody who's actually a pedophile, like Epstein client type shit, right? Like that's
yeah.
different. But this type of cancellation that I'm talking about, like there's no juice there anymore at all.
No, I agree, and it's just like even if it's like this person said this, and then everyone's just like, why are you being those? Why are you being weird? You know,
Yeah.
that's what people say. Like, why you being? Don't be a screenshot portfolio person. Like that stuff is just not useful anymore. And part of it is like what McCarthy did was he kind of made everything his own. Like he was kind of his own guy. He wasn't his relationship to the literary world didn't seem nearly as important as it was to a lot of other writers. So it's like doing that to Cormac McCarthy is kind of like that name sells books, not his relationship to people. Like Cormac McCarthy could
Mhm.
publish independently
Mhm.
and sell a bunch of books, right? Like we all know that. He could have I don't think he wanted to do that. I just mean he could have. So
I don't think he knew how.
no, he was 80 years old, and plus he was probably like, I wrote these two books, I'm done. Like somebody put this out. I think that's like the process. I just mean yeah, they're still like if you try to participate in that world where you need to make people happy who are treating you like you're on a job interview all the time, you can get canceled because you require something from them.
Mm-hmm.
I think that can still take place because ultimately that's on you a little bit. Like you're asking this like retarded Zoomer who grew up canceling people and you're confiding in them with like secrets because that's what you do when you become close to somebody is you start telling them things about yourself that maybe aren't awesome or anything, or maybe are just maybe that's part of a friendship, but they don't. Some of these people, everything's transactional and everything's a piggy bank, everything's meant to deploy for later. You realize if you share that stuff with those people, they're going to do it, they're going to use it against you, and a certain amount of people will react to it that are wired the same way as that person that you shared that information to. But like you said, I don't see the widespread, this person is banned from everything. No, 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 no. I don't think that's, I think we might be moving past that. I hope.
One,
I
it's
think,
about
yeah.
impossible for it to have any real effect on you because, like, I could get banned from mainstream publishing,
Yeah, exactly. That's what I mean. You
and
don't
who
have yeah, you
fucking
know,
cares? Like,
why
it's
would,
not.
Yeah. Like
It's
no,
not a
like
very lucrative
in any
industry.
given day, dude, like 7 out of the 10 authors who are at the top of the Amazon charts are not mainstream authors who
I've
are
been
writing books
told.
about like what if Hillary Clinton ruled the world and we all got guns and fought her, right? Like that's a huge book. That's a huge it's a 7 book series right now. And it's
7 book
What?
enormous.
series, dude.
dude,
Yeah.
Yeah.
What was it called? Hillary
Hilaria.
Hilaria.
oh,
Yeah.
like Alec
Yeah.
Baldwin's wife?
Yeah,
Damn.
exactly. Exactly like how like
Hilaria
it like
Baldwin.
basically Hillary Clinton
Damn.
becomes president, turns the top half of the United States into Hilaria, right? And a group of
Oh,
redneck freedom fighters kills libs.
did Alex
That's
Garland
Wait, let
ape
me write
that
this one
for
down. What's the name?
did
Hilari?
did Alex Garland ape that for Civil War?
I think so. I think so. Yeah, because
Interesting.
like I said, I wish I could remember the exact name. It has some like generic title like
That's pretty
you know,
sick.
the fight for freedom or something like that. But
If you
it's
search Hilaria, it'll
Yeah.
probably
yeah,
you'll
you'll
find
you'll
it.
find it.
And in
Well, you might find
Hilaria,
the Baldwin shit,
they
but
shower in rapeseed oil, and
yeah,
all sex is rape, and the only rape allowed is rapeseed oil, and it's
yep,
yeah, I could see
yep.
that. Yeah.
But like, yeah, no, I don't know. I feel like I'm a pretty average guy, right? Like
Hmm.
I whenever I think something, and I think I'm correct in this, I feel like most people are probably thinking this outside of like the weird like Twitter sphere or whatever. But like I was looking at the Conor McGregor rape allegations,
Hmm.
and my reaction to that was not to try to Sherlock out like what happened. I was just like, man, I don't fucking care. I really like
No.
Mhm.
what it changes. Like, do I think that guy's like an animal? Of course, yeah.
Yeah, you got in the
It
octagon. You got in the octagon and with him. I mean, what?
Yeah, yeah.
I don't know. I mean, what you know? I like I don't know. That's part of the appeal, right? When you have
Mhm.
sex with Conor McGregor, is I'm having sex with an animal,
Yeah,
basically.
yeah, a monster
I don't know.
who was
It's like
great in Roadhouse. I thought he was great in
oh yeah.
Roadhouse.
I haven't
Um,
seen it. I know that's a very there's a lot of it's a polarizing film.
A movie
oh,
of the
people
year
who
for
don't like
me,
it
I
are
think.
dumb. Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's really good. But like, but the whole point is like I don't think that I could see anything. And this might be the,
Mhm.
the 1,000 mile stare of our generation is like allegations against people. We've just
Yeah.
seen it all. So we're like,
There's an
somebody who
exhaustion.
came
There's an
back from
exhaustion element. You're like,
Yeah.
okay,
yes, exactly. Like people who came back from World War One, it's somebody coming down the street and being like, Somebody was just murdered," and you're like,
yeah.
I
"All
have a
right."
real I have like a super
Slaughterhouse Five. So
disgust
it goes kind of thing.
Mhm,
for
mhm.
like I'm repulsed by laziness. And so
Yeah.
all allegations, I just go what like the dad do? What did the boyfriend like what did anybody in their immediate circle do? Nothing? Okay, I don't give a shit.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what they
Obviously
That's a
did.
nobody
great.
cares.
That's a good
I'll
So
tell you what they
calculus right
did
there.
is
Yeah.
that the mom, once she was convinced that Cormac actually loved her daughter, called the FBI off their trail and allowed
Hmm.
them to continue.
Why does the mom have a say if she was like a foster kid? That's what my question. How does that work?
The
You know?
story is very weird.
Yeah.
I was like, this is I don't know. I just kind of
Yeah.
like there's a lot of plot holes. If I could say so
Yeah.
much.
Yeah, there's a
Like
lot of
My
and
boy had the
also
FBI
I do
after
just
him.
want to say, we took it light on the author because he's a grad student and
Yeah.
he's kind of here because of his usefulness. But man, it's bad. It's like it's the prose in this is so fucking bad.
oh, he went to
Uh,
college. Fuck him. Fuck that loser. He
Like
looks like a
this
bitch.
is, I mean, I know,
Well,
I
that's what I
know
say. Is
people
this his
like
peak?
this.
Can you see this guy writing the next great
right.
American
Or
novel?
or is he going to be like an Ace Ventura where he's like the laces were in,
Yeah,
they
Yeah.
were in.
Finkel is Einhorn. Einhorn is Finkel. Yeah.
yeah.
Absolutely. No, I that's why I mean like I start to feel
Uh,
I this is gonna sound cringe, and there's a lot of people that don't like us when I unabashedly support what I'm about to say. But like Trump won, and I felt this sense of confidence where I was like, oh, I'm not insane.
Mhm.
Like I'm not insane. It wouldn't matter if I was, but there was an extra boost. Little HP bar got filled up just a little bit more, like maybe even went to special blinking mode or whatever in it, like in a game. Like I have a special ability now. And I was like, wait,
Interesting.
everybody's tired of the same thing I'm tired of.
Yeah.
Everybody is. Now I would shout it because I don't have ties. I work in construction where there's 50 more outspoken people than me, but there are people that were working in institutions and here and there that weren't speaking about that, but were silently thinking the whole time. That's why Theo Vaughn and all these people have like the biggest podcasts out there, because it's like that there's a cognitive dissonance there that I think
Mhm.
libtards who believe all this Me Too stuff, believe all this stuff, they weren't ready for that. They were like, oh, that's all Russian
Yeah.
bots that listen to Theo Vaughn. That's all Russian bots that listen to this. They've been told, they've been a fake just a fake reality was built for them for the last 8 years. And when I see these things, I can just immediately off the bat just go like, no, this is a dying industry. Like you're asking me
Mhm.
to switch back to a mode that doesn't exist anymore. It never did exist for me,
Yeah.
but there was kind of an etiquette. Like David, you've always said like you treat this stuff like it was like etiquette for a while, like for
Mhm.
people. And I'm like, it's not etiquette anymore. It's like an old Victorian thing that if you saw anybody do at the table, you'd be like, damn, dude, what is this, like the 1600s? Like that
Yeah.
you're doing? That's like kind of the way I'm viewing libtards right now. And
Pronouns in bio. It's like,
yeah.
oh,
By
Well,
the
it's
It's
way,
not
weird.
hurting
And
anybody.
yeah,
yeah,
exactly. Yeah,
and
it
it's
costs you
weird. Like,
nothing. It costs you nothing. It's like, no, it costs me a lot. My dick
Mhm.
falls off. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
like this is horrible. Like I'm not a man. I'm literally have a muzzle on. This is horrible.
and
Yeah,
it's weird. And it's not to make this like whole thing political or whatever, but it's like now they're by because I do know some people that are freaking out about Trump, and you kind of like, well, what's the thing going to happen? And they're like, well, he's mean, and it's like, okay, so
yeah,
there's nothing there. There's literally nothing. It's not
and
nuclear
that's
bombs.
why
It's
the
not Russia.
caricature is like,
It's
that's why the
crazy.
caricature is so cartoonish,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
Because there actually is nothing there. That's why they immediately go to he's a fascist who's going to make everything the Handmaid's Tale, which honestly, if some things that I wanted happened and then
yeah.
that was like the side effect of it happening, I'd kind of be cool with it. Like I wouldn't really care.
It's not
yeah,
happening. Okay, it is happening, and it's good actually.
Yeah, it's
yeah,
good actually.
For the Handmaid's Tale.
exactly.
Dude, a couple of, like the pictures that I've seen of like the Handmaid's Tale outfits being sold out in 3X on
Yeah,
Amazon. It's like super funny.
Yeah,
Um,
it's
but
great. It's
like
great. It's like it's worth it for that alone. Those
but
memes,
they
you know
but
that. Yeah,
they don't have, and I know these people in real life and they don't ever have anything real except for our friend Eddie who does like, who has concerns about escalated conflict with Iran, right? And I'm like, all right, cool. That's fair.
yeah,
That's fair
yeah,
enough, right? Um, but most people don't get to that point. It's like he is a fascist who's going to take like most people think like Mark Hamill, right?
yeah.
yeah. I know, dude.
Mark Hamill
Jesus
is
Christ.
basically
Yeah,
a funny thing that I saw recently is the all these libtards moved to Blue Sky.
right.
And
Oh, dude, the blue sky things. I've fallen down that. It's crazy.
dude,
Yeah,
two very funny things happened. The first thing is that they immediately begin eating each other,
yeah,
right? And I'm sure, Sai, like you've seen the posts of like, hey there, friendo. Like this is an ableist post, and like nobody can really
yeah,
say anything
yeah,
because everybody's policing each other.
yeah.
But apparently, Blue Sky's admin has been absolutely flooded with child pornography since this happened.
Dude,
Yeah,
that's
and he's
crazy.
that's that. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's nuts because
Well, yeah, go ahead.
no, go ahead. Go ahead.
The one I saw was just the meme. Someone posted the meme of like Skinner, the Democrats. Am I out of touch? No, it's the people that are wrong. And everyone beneath him was like, reported this, fucking reported it, man. It's like a meme. You
Yeah,
reported like an internet meme, dude. Like
The Babylon Bee had all their posts marked as sensitive content, which is like not bad. Like even if you were the biggest
Oh,
lib
dude.
of all time, like the Babylon Bee at most should just make you go, "Psh," you know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like,
Dude, Perry Abbasi on Blue Sky, that was
oh
fucking
yeah,
cracking me up, dude.
Oh yeah.
Like, I can't recall the exact post that got him banned, but he has that brilliance where he's able to like do something that sounds kind of like what they would say,
yeah.
but isn't
Yeah.
quite. Actually, let me look at my phone. I
Yeah,
might
he'll be like,
actually.
I saw a man's penis. It got me excited, but like, anyways, like he'll just like say shit like that. Yeah. He's like, a woman's pussy is like really weird. I don't know. Like, yeah, yeah,
Where the fuck is
yeah.
my phone? I can't find it.
Yeah.
Anyway, whatever.
By the way, I gotta say, I've been meaning to say this because it's been a while since I've come on the show. David's been here and stuff, and the two things from Gain of Fiction, which is up to almost 50 episodes now.
The
But
haters are seething.
yeah, I mean, again, they're
Mad,
getting steamrolled.
big
They got
mad.
steamrolled. They're like the steamrolled people that are still
They said
alive
he
in
couldn't do
cartoons.
it.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
said that. But like the two things, one that stick out to me, my favorite quotes from there. One of them, well, I'd say three actually. One of them is low res just calling the horror, contemporary horror, Portland soy horror. Like I love that. Just
Yeah.
the people who can't handle like consent being violated, but like you said, putting like turds in women and stuff. But then the two other things were from both of you guys. Were from the Shards episode where Kelby was talking about how you need to make the media, make the most out of writing, books and be gross, like put fish in women's pussies and stuff. I think about that all the time. And then David's other one is when in the Shards where he says Brett Easton Ellis has that part where he's like, after he has sex and like nuts all over Matt Kellner's like six pack and it's like dripping off, and he's like, I'm not sure if Matt Kellner was actually homosexual. And then David's like, yeah, I think he was like really gay, actually. Like that book is so fucking gay. And like the whole time it's like this gay guy writing a book, and he's like, I don't know if the guy I was fucking in the ass for like 3 months straight is gay. It makes me laugh so hard, dude. Those are the two things they pop in my head all the fucking time. Yeah,
That's good shit.
what a fun time. What a fun time.
It's a fun time to be alive right now, dude.
It is.
That's the thing. Like I've been having a great time.
Yeah.
I mean, work's been stressful and yada yada yada, but in like culturally and in terms of, what we do, whether that's, podcasting or writing or reading, I feel really fucking good.
Yeah.
Like even this book, this Exordia book that I picked up, I mean, the book directly addresses a lot of this like DEI shit. Like the first few paragraphs of the book, it's like, yeah, this is a woman who was hired just because of her skin color, but but she hates everybody. It's a book about a woman who meets an alien, basically. And it was compared to Michael Crichton by Jay in the chat, and I was like, all right, I'm in.
That's always a selling point. Yeah, it's a good selling
Yeah,
point.
if you say it's like Michael Crichton, well, because like Gain of Fiction is bringing Michael Crichton back, but like Michael Crichton really needs to come back to mainstream books. I want there to be a time where I walk into a bookstore and I'm excited because I know that these motherfuckers are locked in. Like some James Patterson, Stephen King.
Yeah.
Rest in peace to Stephen King, but Michael Crichton type dudes are on the shelf. That's a cool era to be in where you're like,
dude.
okay, whatever this is, it's about to slap.
Yeah.
And it has not been that way for 20 years.
Yeah, like Jack said it the best. Like he was like, can you imagine somebody like just imagine Disclosure comes out. These aren't like books that we discovered. Like these were massive hits, and it's like a woman or a man walking into like the airport or even like a B. Dalton and just buying a book about how Me Too is fake before Me Too ever happens, of course.
Yeah.
But it's
Right.
it's just like the fact is that like a normal person would buy that book because they watched Charlie Rose. And that's where I think the podcast comes in, is like these people, the thing that happens now, podcast, everybody's had such a big deal of what podcasting is, but the election confirmed that podcasting is like one of the most important things in the world right now. But not a lot of people before that, people, it's just men talking. It's like bullshit. It's like, actually not, because there are people now that think, I mean, Kamala Harris wouldn't go on Joe Rogan, and Trump went on Joe Rogan and crushed. And
which of them is president now?
Exactly. And like
Exactly.
and part of our like as Americans, we are so used to like consuming things in very like fake clip format, 7 seconds, 10 seconds, couples arguing, but it's completely fake and stuff. And something that really, especially when like a politician or somebody goes on and can like for 2 hours talk about whatever, that sells a book, that sells a person, that sells so many things. That sells you more than me asking you everything about your book. People go, damn, that guy was cool as fuck.
Yeah,
I'm gonna read his book, or I'm gonna watch his movie, like Low Res. Like anybody that listens to Low Res on a podcast is gonna know that guy's cool as fuck. I'm gonna go check out his book or his movie. Excuse me.
There was some woman that went on Joe Rogan and she shilled her book the whole time, and every comment was like, "Not reading that shit. That's gay." It was kind of.
You don't need.
It's
to
funny.
do that.
No, you don't. I don't even know what the book was about or who she was, but I remember that part of it and not reading her book.
they want
So
that stuff. I even had my doubts. I'm like, what does all this actually mean? Like, does this actually have implications? And the answer is yes. It has huge implications. Like, I was like, Megyn Kelly had Red Scare on the other day. I was like, this is insane. Yeah. Like, that is somebody like my grandpa watches, like, and like Anna Kachian and Dasha are on there, like drinking martinis and laughing at the Jaguar commercial. I'm like, holy shit, this became real. Like, this became a real thing. And that's why I'm pumped up about it. And selfishly for us, I'm pumped up. And I mean, the four of us, but the implication that it's like, wow, people just love when people are really tired of etiquette mode all the time because the minute you put a camera on and phones in everyone's pocket, everybody has to act a certain way. But I don't think you have
Yeah.
to anymore because that doesn't get rewarded.
Yeah.
Nope. Nope. Yielding results, bringing something. You got to bring something to the table now. You can't just police your neighbor and go on not doing shit
Yeah.
because hey, look at them, they suck. I'm just gonna stay.
Dude, and the thing
Yeah.
is that we've spent the past 4 or 5 years studying the blade. Like we're
Yes.
already there, dude.
David
Yeah,
and I are
we've studied
both
the blade.
finna. Let's see, me, David Simmons. He's already got some shit locked in.
Yeah.
Grant's working on stuff. Eddie's got plenty of shit in the bag,
Mhm.
but David and I are primed to drop like our biggest hits,
Yeah.
right? Like come New Year. I mean, probably summer or something like
Dude.
that. But
Mine, I'm gonna level with you guys like with this book that I'm writing. It's like 700 pages right now, and I'm
Let's
fucking
fucking
sick of
go.
looking at it.
I
Yeah.
will do the
I'm
audiobook, by the
I'm
way. You just have
fucking
to be
sick.
you have to be okay with my pace. Like that's the thing, but I will do it. I will do it because
Yeah, I'm
I
looking at like summer. I want to do it in the
oh
summer,
yeah,
but
I can
like
get it. I can get it done. Yeah.
it's got a lot of humor in it, like a lot of dick jokes. And
Dude. Yeah.
I mean, and I just yeah, I think that would be good. But I'm at the point right now where like I'm going back through it and I'm kind of adding stuff to it. Like nothing has been subtracted because I'm a very minimalist writer to begin
Right.
with. So like there's
Mhm.
no subtracting from it. There's only adding. And it's already 700 fucking pages. And I open it up and in the little I write everything in Atticus, which is the program that immediately translates to what it looks like on the Kindle, right? So I can see it as I'm
Oh,
writing it.
that's cool.
Um,
What
and
the
I'm
fuck?
like,
Damn. Yeah.
You're
I'm
gonna have to
like,
show me that. You're gonna have to show me that because that's a big issue with me. Yeah. Mhm.
yeah, no, and it
it's
looks
a
cool because yeah, it has the cool Kindle font, and it's like you're seeing the finished product like as you're doing it, basically. So, um,
Wow.
but I'm fucking tired. I'm like I want to do something different, but I can't. I can't. I got to make sure that this because like I
You're
do
like a
believe that
POC SJW, dude. You're tired. You're
I'm
tired of it.
tired,
Yeah.
bro.
You're
I'm
just
Yeah.
yeah,
so
you're so tired.
tired.
You're just fucking
Let me ask you this because an idea for me, I get a lot of ideas, but they pass through, and so
Mhm.
sometimes like I'll write them down an idea, even if it's like something funny that I want to remember for the podcast, even something small. But I'll look at it 2 days later and go, nah. You
Yeah,
know,
yeah.
how much has this idea for a 700-page book has it been eating at you for a long time to do
No,
right.
that? See, that's the
no.
thing. Like I've noticed like if I for something for like 6 months is just eating at me, like you have to do that. Like you have to do that. That's when I know I have to, regardless. Like
Hmm.
whether it's a hit, whether it's not, I'm like I have to do it or else it's gonna hurt me not to, you know.
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
but that's the problem with writing is it consumes every aspect of your life, right?
Every day is like new. Like
Hmm.
I mean, there are some days where I'll give you an example of 3 different writing days. Like there's one day where I go to sit down, nothing comes out. I do 500 words and it's just like dog shit. And I know
Oh,
it's dog shit, but like you gotta keep you
yeah.
just gotta keep
It's a
going.
purge. It's a purge.
It's a
You're getting
purge.
you're purging that out. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. There are
Yeah.
some days where I spend 45 minutes and I write 1,200 words and they're great. I'm like, oh, cool. And then there's like last night where I had my son sitting on my lap. We're
Hmm.
listening to the Blade soundtrack. I
Sick.
wrote about 325 words, nothing great. But I was like, okay, that's it's just the only consistent factor is that I do it every night. That's it. Like there's no telling what my relationship to the project is going to be that particular night. I hate it sometimes. I'm in love with it others, but I show up. I mean, that's pretty much it.
And
Because those ideas that you have that you write down and you say that you're going to do later, you might, but probably not, right? Like
right.
it's a very it's a David Lynch wrote Catching the Big Fish because he all of his inspirations come from transcendental meditation where he
Sure.
like meditates and fishes for ideas or whatever. And that's cool, right? But in my experience, you have to immediately incorporate that or
Mhm.
it's gone. It's dead. So
We've
a
seen
book
what
is just a
happens
process.
when
Go
you
ahead.
don't. We've seen what happens when you don't jump on it. It goes to me, and then it goes into
Hmm.
mercy.
Which is nice because like I'm like for writing like I've come up with I've talked to you guys both privately. I have like really cool ideas about stuff.
Of course.
I hate writing.
I
Like I was
still
like,
think
damn,
about that one that we
yeah,
talked about. I've
it's
written it
it's
down. I'm
it's
like, this is
there.
something we need to
It's
do.
there. No, I hate writing though. I was like, holy
Mhm.
shit, this is not fun. I fucking
Mhm.
hate it. I can't get my voice to come out. Like I'm like, this is it sounds like me just like bleh on the thing, and it's just like goosebumps, like slime all over there. And I'm like, this is terrible. I
Hell yeah.
hate this. And so I was like, I'm not meant to do this. Like part of being we're all in the same age range in a way. Like
Yeah,
part
between
of being
16 and 42.
yeah, that's right, brother. Yeah,
Yeah.
don't walk across me at that motel. Yeah,
That's
yeah.
state
And
lines, dude. That's
yeah.
Cal right now. State lines.
What you doing with that gun, Kelby? And but I was I was kind of like in my 20s I'd be like, well, I got to do that. I have to do that no matter what. I have to do it. I have to do it. And that's like a form of laziness is doing something that sucks and just doing it.
Mm.
And
Mhm.
like but it sucks. Square peg, round hole doesn't work, you know, but you're just doing it and you're just, definition of insanity, all that stuff. But like, then realizing when you hit your 30s, you're like, maybe it's just like a mortality thing where you're like, no, I got to do the thing that's eating at me. That's like, I really have to do.
Mhm.
I don't know what the audience is. I don't know what this is. I have to do it. And I'm like, writing just isn't like, I was just like, writing is just isn't for me. I just am not a writer. Yeah.
Dude, it's I think that if a thing eats at you, you should do it, but I think it has to be a very broad thing.
Hmm.
It has to like you could say it's eating at me that I don't know how to build cabinets, right?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
I feel like I should be a cabinet maker or I should be a writer. But I think that like the thing that's eating at you if you already are a writer and you just have this book that needs to come
Hmm.
out, the writing process is necessarily transformative and it's going to fuck up what like it's a destruction of that idea, right?
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
thing that you think needs to be done, by the time you get it out, it's going to be something completely different
Hmm.
Absolutely.
anyway. So I think that those kind of, mid 30s, like I need to do XYZ are good. Like if you're calling, like if you felt like, God, I really need to be a carpenter, that doesn't like who knows what you're gonna make? End tables, chairs? Like
Yeah.
who really knows? But if you think like I gotta make this one specific chair, it's not gonna be that chair.
Yeah, yeah,
It's
yeah,
never gonna
yeah.
be that chair, you know?
Well, it
So
would if I was making it, but
for sure, of
well,
course,
well I'm
man, of course,
following
of course.
following the metaphor, following.
It'd be better in that chair. But no, I think my whole shit is just that I know that I'm here to tell stories and I decided at
Yeah,
a certain point that I needed to actually learn how to tell stories instead of just like make words look pretty, which is important. But um but
yeah.
stories will be told.
No, for sure. And that's a funny thing. One thing I love listening to your guys' show is because I like almost everything I read, but I don't write. And that's another
Mhm.
reason I don't want to write is because I think I'll hate more stuff if I write.
You will.
Yeah, no, it's true. If you play guitar, you're
Everything
gonna think you're
sucks.
if you play guitar, you're gonna hate a lot of guitarists. If but for me, I'm a reader, and I'm like that's what I want to do, and I like most things. But you were saying that about like the flowery language, or like just like, are you writing for other writers? Like I hate when I'm like I'll read something and people will say it's really really good. Okay, this is really good, and I'll read it and I'll be like, okay, I can tell that this person is a talented person. The end result's not that good, and I'm like, oh, they were writing it for another writer,
Hmm.
and I was like, that's gay.
Yeah,
Hmm.
it is. Yeah.
But
Yeah.
also, but let's be real. When you write a book, and I feel like Kelby already says he doesn't give a shit. I can already tell he probably doesn't give a shit about what other writers think.
I
I feel
hate
like
other
David does,
writers.
but I feel like David does a little bit, just a little
Oh
bit.
yeah, 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 yeah.
Um, uh, you gotta
he
still have that
knows
in the
the
back of your mind because you're
Bolaños
like,
and all of
if I
that.
put out some shit that like people like, but writers are like, oh, he did this thing that's like totally audience crowd pleaser thing and stuff like that would eat at you a little bit, right?
Oh man, that's good.
I wonder. I just wonder.
No. It's good. I think I would have for sure
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
before Trump won.
Oh, shots fired.
We're so that,
Uh,
Yeah.
no, now I think that I do have, yeah, I do have that tendency for sure.
Your
Yeah.
writing is in conversation with other writers.
Yeah, but
I
no, what's really interesting now is like this would have been 100% true even like a year ago. But I've had a lot of like come to Jesus moments.
yeah, it's
I
true.
mean, me and Kelby hanging out like that kind of not giving a fuck attitude
Mm-hmm.
has rubbed off on me.
Yeah,
No Diddy.
rubbed one off
Uh,
on you.
Yep.
but yeah, no, but I also part of the only reason why I keep pausing in this on this question is that like I think I'm actually incapable of writing in a way that other writers would find fault with. Like
Oh, I see. Yeah, no,
the
I know what you
prose
mean.
is going to be untouchable, like no
Nice.
matter what
Yeah.
I do.
Oh yeah.
Like I had to learn how to do plot and character,
Was that the
but I didn't
question
have to learn
though?
how to do
Was
prose.
that like
It was and it wasn't, but I see what you mean. Like, because I first off, there is even if it is untouchable, someone's gonna touch it because they're stupid, and
And they
even if they're
have been
jealous,
touching it for years.
even if they're
Yep.
jealous, even if
Right.
it's pure, like for us, like I can put out an episode that is us like fucking around. That is easily our biggest numbers. Here
yeah.
and there, like obviously you have like Anakachian on it, like that's why one's gonna do a lot of numbers or whatever.
Mhm,
But like
mhm.
most of the time when it's just an episode where it's us just fucking around, that's like those are the ones that do the numbers and stuff. But I could tell there's somebody going, they're just fucking around, and I'm like, shut up, you know. But there's nothing to defend. I don't think
Right.
Psy cares. I care. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, right.
Like what I mean is
This
like
is why
he's
our podcasts get along so well, is that we're literally
yeah.
the
I'm
same
David, he's
thing.
Kelby. You know
Yeah,
what I mean? Like
exactly.
it's that's what I mean. Like, there's a different like there's this I see it as a
There's
flaw
like
in
one
myself.
dude who talks all the time
Yep.
and cares a
Well,
lot,
Hmm.
and then another dude who doesn't give a fuck,
another dude who's just
talks
there
very
with his
little,
big ass dick, just being like,
and
yeah,
Yeah.
whatever.
everybody likes them more for some reason. Glenn, can we talk about this? Like, why do they like
Oh, people
Cy and
love
Kelby
him.
more
Yeah,
than us?
people love
Yeah.
him. Well, people,
Come on,
I have
you guys.
no,
Come
no,
on,
no,
let's
no.
let's
People,
not.
people
hang
like
on.
me. No, people like. I'm not saying I do. People love
Yeah.
him, and people also do this thing to me where they feel the need to knock me down a peg the minute they talk to me. I'm like,
Oh,
what the
me
fuck,
too.
dude? I'm
Me
like,
too.
dude.
Yeah.
I'm like, we're just
That's
chilling.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
like, they'll be like, yeah, but you're fucking gay. I'm like, what? I am? Like, oh shit, maybe I am gay. Like, no, but it's like it's this like sports thing. I think it's like more the for me, like it's like this sport, and when they look at me, I'm like, all right, like fuck, all right, it's fine, I'm down, but they like him a lot. I mean, they like him. I mean, I love him, so it's like I understand. I see the appeal. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's
Everybody loves
I
Cy.
feel. I don't know.
obviously.
But I feel like you're like. How do I put this? I don't know. I can't do. I think about all the time how I can't do what you do.
Well,
I
no,
see, and
and
I'm not even
vice
just.
versa.
I'm like,
yeah.
and it's yeah. I mean, maybe that's where I work so well together.
Yeah,
but it's
if we both did the same thing, it would be stupid.
yeah.
You know what I mean?
Like I literally, I could not do this on my own. I could probably
No.
rig up a little show and have a little thing where I talk about fluoride like 9 times out of 10.
Yeah.
But it's
And I would
it would
listen
not
to
hit,
that.
dude.
Yeah, it would be
it,
sick.
You would be a
Actually.
fan.
No,
Yeah.
I think you're
Actually, no, you
underestimating
couldn't.
that.
Don't ever do that without
Yeah,
me. Yeah.
No, I think if
Yeah.
Kelby and Cy had a podcast, that shit would slap so fucking
Dude, let's
hard.
wife swap.
It would
dude.
have
Let's do
hella
that.
dead air.
Like,
Hell
let's do
yeah.
that like a reality
It
show.
would have-
Swap hosts.
It would have hella dead
Dude,
air.
the-
It would have
the-
hella
the
dead air,
gl-
but it would be bars. the whole
Yeah.
And then
time.
the
Like, it
Glenn
would be
and David
sick.
one would just be like
Yeah.
literally no breaks.
Yeah,
Like the
yeah,
audio, the
yeah,
wave file
yeah.
would just
It's
be
happened.
fucking.
Oh,
Remember
yeah.
when I had to edit like 20 minutes of Asian driving jokes out of like when you came on that one time? Like it was just going crazy. Yeah, it was
Yeah.
going crazy. Yeah, but no, I say this like I just people are wired differently, but people are constantly looking for like the person that's just like them. It's like no, you need the person that's like kind of different than you.
Yeah.
But understands what you do, you know, and understands like the way you work. Like if he talked the same amount of rate that I did, this would be stupid. But also, I hate dead air. It scares the hell out of me because I come from a radio background, so I compulsively talk because somebody has to say something, and you
No,
know,
but you're
and
good. I'm especially when we have a guest on, and
yeah,
I think it
yeah,
probably other people don't even see it, but someone will say some weird someone we don't even know will come on, and they're cool, but maybe they'll say some weird shit, and
no, not our
you
show.
can
That
like
would never happen.
yeah, exactly. You can it's like when you like a guy lands a plane really well and everyone claps on the plane, like that shit where you can kind of like do this gymnastics and get him back on track maybe. It's always a him too. It's all, it's
It
always
is a
yeah,
him.
for
Yeah.
sure. But I think that radio vibe is really works with that.
Well, yeah, and I just
Yep.
mean like to even the original question, it's like it would crush me if somebody who was professional radio person told me that I say like too much. I
Mhm.
do say like too much, but it doesn't matter really that much.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
But somebody telling me that I know knows how to do the job that I'm doing, it's kind of a nightmare, and it's like a
Yeah.
flaw. And that's why I asked David that question, where it's like that book could sell millions of copies, but if one writer was like, yeah, like the movie, the Paul Thomas Anderson movie, The Master, right? I've
Mhm.
rewatched that movie millions of times, and I love it. It's great. But there's that part where Philip Seymour Hoffman, who's clearly like this L. Ron Hubbard character, is doing his like transcendental whatever healing thing on this woman, and there's that guy just going, "No," in the corner. "No, I don't buy that." And it doesn't matter that he doesn't buy that, but it eats at him. You know what I mean? And I used to watch that movie back in the day where I was like, oh, like Philip Seymour Hoffman's such a fraud. His character is such a fraud, like, oh, how
Mhm.
lame. But I watched it. I was
Mhm.
so sympathetic for his character when I watched it again. I was like, that sucks ass when somebody does that, even if they're wrong, or like it doesn't matter. They're not gonna buy your book. They're not gonna
No,
support you. These people
no.
buying a book to them is like lame,
Yeah.
like. But it's tough to. I don't know if that makes any sense. You know what I mean? Like, just
No,
No,
100%. No. We are very similar in
I
that
wish I didn't
respect.
care. I wish I didn't. I know Cy
No,
doesn't care.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah,
yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
yeah, yeah,
Your what you just said really did resonate with
yeah.
me.
This
And
is a deadly combination though. Like
It is.
y'all, I
Yeah.
wouldn't want to change y'all, and I wouldn't want to change me inside. Like I don't think
Exactly.
that it's a flaw
Yeah.
that I don't
It's
give a
not a
shit.
flaw.
And
It's
I
not a
really
flaw.
don't give a shit. And I don't think it's a flaw that y'all give a shit.
Yeah.
No. And I think honestly, and us four, I think we hit the ground running. I remember the first 5 minutes, I was like,
Oh,
these
yeah.
guys rock, dude.
David
And this
called
is
me
gonna be a
gay,
long.
and I knew that was the
Yeah.
person. I said,
Yeah.
I remember asking a question. I said, "Why don't I like anime?" You're like, "Because you're
'Cause you're
gay."
gay,
And
dude.
and I was like, because we would have
Yeah.
people on. I hate when I'll ask that
Yeah.
question to somebody, and they'll go, "Well, it's probably because of
Yeah,
something."
yeah.
And I'm like, dude, it's
Yep.
like, come on, like say the thing, like say, because I love, like, you ever like
Yeah.
ask somebody a question about something they love a lot, and then they're
Mhm.
like, "Well, it's not even that big. I mean,
Yeah,
it's,
yeah.
it's okay if you don't like it and stuff." It's like, no, I know that you think it's shitty that I don't like that. Like
Yeah.
it's okay
Mhm.
to say that to me, and you did, and we didn't know each other. So I was like,
Mhm.
Yeah.
"Oh, that's sick." It's being punched in the mouth in the fight, and you're like, "I'm ready to fight." You start tasting the blood. You're like, "Oh, this is good."
Yeah.
We're not fighting, but I'm like, that's if that was our preferred method, that would be the good thing to happen is the first punch. You're like, "Oh, good." So
Yeah.
it is a lethal combination, like, and it's great. But I think about it all the time where I'm like, I wish I had his like nirvana, like just
Yeah,
of
yeah,
just
yeah. I
like
think that about Kelpie
I
all the
wish I
time
just
too,
didn't give a
dude.
fuck,
Yeah,
but I do. I give
yeah,
so many fucks.
yeah,
Like,
yeah,
yeah, like
yeah.
I
It's
care so
tough.
much.
We need it.
Yeah.
It's tough. It's tough. There is something really. This is like along the same lines, but like in the agitator Discord,
Mhm.
um, Jay Springett
Mhm.
friend of the show,
Sure.
posted about that Exordia book, and I downloaded it because he recommended it.
Yeah.
And so I took a screenshot of the download, right? And I posted the screenshot where I was like, dude, if Jay recommends it, I fucking buy the book. But in the screenshot, it had what I was listening to at the time. And the book was called How to Stop People Pleasing.
Yeah, dude.
Oh.
No,
and I fucking deleted it immediately. I like deleted
But
that
you're,
fucking
you're I
picture.
love that about you because you'll be like somebody will be like, yeah, I'm really working on this part of my writing, like where I'm like, how to not be a huge faggot when I write books, and you're like, and David's always like, well, there's a book called How to Not Be a Huge Faggot by John Sorensen, and you're like, you should read that. I'm like, that's crazy. Like David is just a point A to point B guy
Yeah.
it's like when I have it when I I want the answer to a question, I just go find the thing titled that. But yeah, that is fine. I would do the same thing. I would crop that. I would be like, why did I crop that bullshit out?
I totally understand that. But I honestly, it's a pet peeve of mine when people clown on. I am actually I love like self-help shit and
Oh, yeah.
books and
Mhm.
stuff, and it's a
Me
big
too,
pet peeve
dude.
of mine when people clown on that stuff because I'm like, yo, like first of all, we're all kind of embarrassed by our shortcomings and stuff, and we all want to make it better. And then the people that are courageous enough to do that and be upfront about it, I kind of like, yeah, that's always been because that was my when I was like even before I was a teenager, I'd always go to those sections of the bookstore for some reason, like the
Mhm.
weird new age self-help shit, and I love
Yep.
that stuff. And so yeah, but I totally understand cropping that out. I would do the exact same thing.
Yeah,
Yeah,
dude. I didn't even notice that. I saw you post that. I didn't even look.
yeah.
And either
I hate a zoom in person too, by the way. Like people
Yeah.
do that, like where it's like you'll post a picture and people are like, what's that in the corner? I like,
Yeah.
all
it's
right.
like I thought something was funny that Simmons said
Yeah.
in the chat today, and he so I had like posted it, and he goes, man, I really need to change my profile pic because it's like Epstein and Diddy mixed together. And I was like,
That might
I didn't
sell
even
though. Yeah.
notice.
That might
You know?
sell. That might he should
Kelby
actually run.
posted like a thing
Yeah.
from the chat. Yeah, and it's like it's this face meld of Diddy and Epstein.
That's funny.
It's so funny that they made like a Tubi original Epstein out of Diddy.
Dude,
Dude,
I'm tired of the Diddy shit. Like I'm not even
not that
defending the
sick.
guy. I'm just like
Yeah.
seriously, like it's just another one of those things. It's a Cormac, dude, and I'm not comparing P Diddy to Cormac, dude, you know. But
No,
I don't know,
it's
dude.
not the same. It's just I looked into it. I'm like, this isn't as exciting as everybody's saying it is.
It's
Like I
not.
was looking, I'm like, oh, the guy was a little weird free. Obviously, he can't rap, so there's a reason he stuck around for so long.
Yeah.
He's a black.
So what did
male
they do
agent.
at these parties? I know about the baby oil
Yeah.
and
Oh, you're telling me a bunch of DL brother R&B singers were getting their butts lubed up for Diddy? Like, of course, everyone knew that.
Yeah. Did he fuck the dude from Family Matters? Is that real?
So that I have heard. I heard the story that he was watching Family Matters and was like, "What's up with Carl Weather?" Or not Carl Weather. What's his name?
Carl
Winslow.
Winslow?
Yeah, not Carl Weathers. He probably would have fucked Carl Weathers too.
Carl,
But
dude,
yeah,
Carl Winslow at least he was fucking Jack, dude. So, that's a different story.
Yeah,
Carl
yeah,
Winslow,
yeah. Apollo
like,
Creed.
yeah, watching fucking Die Hard and being like, that dude in the cop car, get me him.
Isn't he in The Wire too? I feel like it was The Wire.
I don't think he was in The Wire.
Oh, I thought he was one of the like DEA guy. I couldn't remember, but
No,
either
no.
way, I was like, I felt like that was.
I know
yeah,
they all look the same, but no. It's not.
more like the DEI, yeah.
Yeah.
But but yeah, the no, I was like, this is so stale, and it's just like a bunch of like, it's weird because it's kind of a take that sounds weird when you repeat it out loud or say it out loud, but you're like, it's weird to see a bunch of sexless people like freaking out about a guy like being a little freaky.
Yeah.
Like a sexless culture that's like, I would never use KY jelly for a butthole, like, and then like a guy did it, and obviously it's called Bad Boy Records.
Yeah.
There's some bad
Yeah.
boys out there.
Yeah, some bad boys.
Yeah. And first off, if he the thing I didn't realize, if he would fuck Carl Winslow, he would fuck Biggie. But nobody said that.
Oh, probably he did.
Yeah, and Biggie has that line where he says, "Don't you know what my homie does to kids? He fucks them in the ass and throws them over the bridge," which is a really strange rap lyric. Like
It's,
for like,
This
yeah.
just kind of randomly
yeah,
happened.
yeah. And I was like, "Is that
Imagine
the
like,
homie? Is that the homie? Was it just the guy in the shiny suit, like doing the voter with the voter die shirt? You know, like
That's
these
really
were
weird for like
yeah,
the P. Diddy thing is weird for like people who are so broken that sex for them is like a weapon.
yeah,
Because you don't get the
Yeah.
impression with like with the Epstein stuff, he was a freak and a pervert,
hmm
but you kind of got the idea that he was that because he liked doing that kind of stuff.
yeah,
And with Diddy, you get the impression that he didn't get pleasure from anything. He just did things. Not to
yeah,
kind of like power rank Epstein and Diddy and be like,
Well,
who?
Epstein had like a broader goal of
Mhm.
being the Genghis Khan of our generation, having like
yeah,
10% of the
Yeah,
seed
yeah.
be, which
yeah,
which is hilarious, dude, because it's like Jeffrey Epstein, it's just that
yeah,
guy, it's funny,
yeah.
yeah.
And
My
then
favorite picture on the internet is Ernest, Jim Varney, a
yeah,
picture of
yeah.
Ernest with Epstein.
Wait, what's this?
No, Ernest, like
You know,
Ernest goes to camp.
Ernest
Ernest
goes to
goes
camp.
to
Have you guys
Oh,
seen that
the
picture?
no,
Ernest
I haven't
goes
seen the
to
picture.
Epstein Island.
Yeah,
There's
yeah,
a
Ernest
picture
Ernest
of
goes to
like
Little
Jim
St.
Varney in
James.
full
Camp
like
Epstein.
Jim Varney in full like Ernest costume with like the denim vest and shit.
Damn.
And he's like with Epstein and he's making like a silly Ernest face. It's just funny to think like Ernest goes to,
Dude, I hate the
Epstein
picture.
Island.
Yeah.
That's it.
Camp
Yeah.
I hate, dude. I first off, I hate the like when
Yeah.
somebody's like, "Oh, this guy's hella cool," and someone goes, "Oh, really?" and they show a picture of them and like Ghislaine Maxwell. I'm like, dude, you wouldn't take a picture if she just like slid through,
You're
and you
you're
didn't know
gonna
who that
find
was.
you're gonna find pictures of me with
Yeah,
people I fucking hate and us
if I,
being
Yeah.
like, "What's up?" Blah blah
yeah,
blah.
Yeah.
if I knew what she got
Yeah.
down with, I would be like, no, bitch, I don't want to take a fucking picture with you. You know what I mean? But if I
Yeah.
didn't know, I'd be like, oh yeah, sure, you're a fan. Yeah,
If I knew what
you know,
Ghislaine
yeah,
Maxwell got down with and I was literally right next to her, I'd shoot the bitch in the face.
yeah.
Mhm.
That's what I mean. I would be like, I don't want to be in a picture with you because I know the weird thing that you do. But otherwise, I'd be like, it's a fucking picture, dude. These are like celebrities.
Not knowing what she did, would or no?
100%.
100%, yeah.
Yeah. What? Yeah. I was just
Yeah.
like, come on. Come on. Like, it's, but I just mean like the idea
That's
that
what
like
girls
you're,
don't understand about us too.
yeah.
Is that like, how could you say yes? It's like, come on, dude. It's yeah, yeah. Come
He
on.
said
It's,
he said at the outset, ignoring all the bad
Yeah.
stuff.
yeah,
What part of that did you not hear?
exactly. Yeah.
I mean, it's
I'd get
just
in the
like,
van.
yeah.
Get in the van.
You know, so I'm just a contractor. I'm like, Kelby's building the cabinets, and he's like, "This is a weird temple," and he's just like, "Yeah."
It
I
is
usually
weird.
and then you're like,
Yeah.
"Oh, whoa, what's happening here?" That'd
It is
that'd be
weird.
a fun
Like,
short story. Is you building a cabinet and realizing what you're building? That'd be a cool short
yeah,
story.
yeah.
That would be cool.
I
The
would
cabin
read
is
that.
under the New York subway system for like a rabbi or something.
Did you guys see that thing where there's like I don't know if this was debunked or what, but there was like that guy who said he worked at a Starbucks in a tunnel under LA. You know what I'm talking
Jesus
about?
Christ. Damn. No, that's
He
No,
was
wild though.
it was this
Yeah.
do you guys know what ninjas are butterflies is?
no.
Okay. Well, I regret to inform you both that it's a conspiracy podcast that does big numbers and that kind of low key feels astroturf to me.
Right, right.
Like,
Yeah.
it's like one of those things where it's like, oh, we're gonna, talk about, giants in America and how the
Yeah.
Smithsonian covered it all up, but we're gonna
Yeah.
do it in this like kind of
Yeah.
semi-libtarded way. Like
Yeah.
they're not really lib, they're Christian, but
Word.
at the same like the way they present the information
Mhm.
is kind of whatever. But they talked about this interview that this guy did where he said that he worked in one of the exclusive Starbucks because there are tunnels under LA where all rich and famous people, like that's just how they get around LA. Like they don't
Yeah.
use the surface. They go
Yeah.
through these tunnels. and there's a Starbucks that is apparently like all free. Like you can just
Yeah.
stop by and pick up whatever.
That sounds really
Yeah.
leftist to me.
That's
I don't think
Yeah,
it's
how
real.
so?
Well, rich people, I mean, they just take the tunnel and they don't pay for any Starbucks.
Mhm.
You
Yeah.
know, like just that classic, like rich people, like they get handed everything for free and they take the tunnel. I'm like, no, they don't. They get driven
No.
around everywhere. I don't
What's
think
the
that's real.
what if you work the underground Starbucks, but your pay is still like $18 an hour or some dog shit? Like, no
Dude, I would be
tips.
talking. I would be
Yeah,
talking
yeah, for sure.
immediately.
Yeah.
I'd be
It's
like,
like, oh, and my
damn,
ND,
Jake
the guy,
Gyllenhaal? What?
the guy said in the
Here?
interview, he's
Yeah.
like, oh, my NDA is finally up, so I can
Oh,
talk. And I'm
shut
like,
up.
okay,
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
your
That's not how
NDA.
those things work.
Yeah,
It's
yeah, the
fine. It's
underground
finally up.
yeah, the
Yeah.
underground rich people tunnel has a statute of limitation. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, no, you're right. That's astroturfed and that's fake. And if it was real, there first off, like that just seems like, oh, rich people hate LA traffic so much. It's like, dude, they'll just sit in traffic and like make $1 million on their phone.
Oh, but
Yeah.
Giants real? Yes or no?
Yeah, of course.
I'm
Everything's
leaning,
real.
yeah.
They're all real. Joe Rogan gets smeared for being a dragon believer now. I'm like, because the Flint
Dragons
Dibble,
were real, dude.
yeah, and the
Yeah.
Flint Dibble thing
They're
is
in the
huge.
Bible. Like, what the fuck?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Come on.
yeah.
The crazy
Try to
well,
keep up.
I know the Smithsonian, they supposedly covered up the Giants, and they also supposedly covered up the Grand Canyon
hmm
hidden
hmm
civilization tunnels where they found
Yeah, yeah,
hieroglyphs and
that kind of
bro.
Pueblo style like
Hmm.
civilization that was
Yeah.
living
Yeah.
there. What do
They
you think
just came
about
in and
like
shut that shit down, sealed it up, dude, like 1908 or something like that.
what do you
It
think
was
about the
nuts.
giant in
Oppenheimer did.
Afghanistan?
What's that? What's that one?
The redheaded giant in Afghanistan,
I
apparently
don't know
that
about
US
this one.
soldiers encountered.
Wow. Oh, like
Apparently there
recent,
was
like in the last 20 years
yeah,
or
it's
something.
the giant
Wow.
of Kandahar.
Damn.
Apparently there was one in Afghanistan that US soldiers were talking about where yeah, there was like a legit giant in a cave that fucked them up.
Like
And
living giant.
yeah, living.
Wow.
Yeah.
I fuck with that. I believe it. Just
I
eating
believe
goats
it.
and shit. Yeah. That's crazy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
mean, I
Harry
believe in
Potter,
all
dude.
of that stuff. I believe in all that stuff.
Where are we at with the aliens? The
Yeah,
disclosures about the aliens.
I don't like
I
when it
think.
gets all official. I don't like
Me
when
Yeah.
it's
neither.
like
Yeah,
when
it
there's
feels
guys
weird.
like
Kind of
when
feels like
there's
this has been like our territory,
yeah,
and then
yeah.
like these dudes in suits are trying to say like, no, there were things, and then we're like, nah,
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't want
yeah,
court
but nah, yeah, but
congressional
not in that way.
hearings,
Yeah.
congressional hearings. No, 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 no. Like
That's like a boomer, like a Robert Malone, who I don't hate. Like a Robert, like, Joe, did you see the congressional hearings on
hmm
UFOs? You know, like that kind of
they're
that like
crumbling.
COVID.
It's all crumbling, bro.
Yeah.
I'm
It's like the
like, no,
COVID
it's not.
Substack boomer, again, who I do like those guys, but they're like,
hmm
look at this. And it's like, man, we've been
Yeah.
on that shit. You
I
know,
know
it's
they
kind
let
of,
they
Yeah.
dude. Boomers
yeah.
are addicted to like West Wing style, like
Hmm.
just like takedowns and like everything being solved in the courts by little.
And we never had that respect for that kind
No,
of
we hate all
process.
institutions. Like any like
Yeah.
institution, when I just feel like it's like underground rap to me. I'm just like, oh, they went mainstream. You know, I'm good. You know,
Yeah.
not that I
Mm.
don't believe in them, but I'm not gonna watch these congressional hearings about aliens. That shit's boring as fuck.
I think
Why, like,
yeah.
one thing, and this is gonna seem like a completely base level retard question to ask, but something that I have never been able to wrap my head around is this idea that things would be hidden because people couldn't handle it. I feel like
Yeah,
we handle a lot.
yeah,
So the Giants,
Yeah.
for example, which I do believe in. I believe in the Afghanistan one. I believe in the Grand Canyon one. I think they were all over America. I mean, I've seen those pictures. Seems legit to me.
I mean,
But
again,
like this idea,
Goliath.
again, yeah, exactly. But like the idea that it would be buried because people couldn't handle like that doesn't click for me. Why?
Mhm.
There has to be a reason to hide things. Like, remember, you guys know like the blobfish, the fish that looks like a certain way, but it's way down under the ocean, and then when they pull it up, it looks like
Yeah.
a C tier Pokemon kind of thing,
Yeah.
right?
Uh-huh.
Mm.
They didn't hide that. Like, why weren't
Yeah.
they like, no, people can't handle this fucking ugly fish? It's too
Yeah.
Oh
gross.
yeah. If you
Yeah.
watch Discovery Channel like late at night, there's all kinds of shit that they just throw out there. I
So
mean, they
why would
show
the
us everything.
Smithsonian hide giants?
Uh,
Yeah.
I also kind of don't want the answer. I've come to realize, and for things like that, I kind of just like I like those things as an exercise. I do genuinely believe that these things exist. I just mean like I don't need to see the evidence. Like and I don't know if you guys have read the story. It is a George R. R. Martin short story. It's called "With Morning Comes Mistfall." I don't know if you've read that story.
I
It's
don't think
about
so.
it's a really good short story. It's from like the 70s. It was before he was like super big, and I think it was like a
When he was
nebula
fucking
of
those fives.
yeah all day at the conventions. So there's this like not have is kind of like uninhabitable planet or something that has this like floating rich people colony, kind of like the tunnels, and
Mhm.
where they all go to hunt phantoms, right? And there's these phantoms down there, and it's in the mist. You look down at the mist, and they're like, "Hey, down there's phantoms. You can go down there and hunt them." No one ever does. They all go up there, and they're like, "Hey, down there's phantoms." Everyone's like, "I'm at the resort. Down there's phantoms." And everyone's like, "You gonna go down there?" They're like, "Shit looks horrible down there. I'm gonna like stay up here at the resort." But down there is phantoms. And then finally, one guy comes in, and he's like, "I'm gonna prove that there's no phantoms down there." And everyone's like, "Dude, don't do that." Like, and this guy goes down there and he's like, doesn't see anything. I've put my, lasers down here that can hunt all phantoms and there's nothing there and stuff. And then the resort closes down and everything's gay. And that's like the story. And then you're just like, why did you want the answer so bad? And for me, with
Mm.
like this, like disclosure and stuff, it's like, I don't need disclosure. I believe in aliens. I don't need, there's so many people that need that like hard proof, that
I
like,
think we're
when,
gonna
Mhm.
get like a psychic disclosure. I've felt this for years. Like we're all
yeah.
gonna have the same dream, and then so that way it's a soft intro, and
Mhm.
it's something no one, since it's a subjective experience, none of us can deny it, and we can talk about it amongst each other, but it's not in your face on the White House lawn kind of thing, you know? It's gonna be creepy. It's like, but in a cool
I've
way.
never
You
heard
know?
that, but that's the tightest shit I've ever
That,
heard.
that's
A
I was
shared
just thinking the
dream.
Yeah,
same
that's
shit. Like, here's
cool.
my theory.
Yeah.
We're just all gonna have the same dream. What
And
oh
Yeah,
we're gonna
that
be at
no,
the water
that would
cooler
be
the next
cool.
morning, where
But
we're like,
again,
dude, I dreamed, yeah, and it's
but
I had
no
the same
boomer would
dream.
believe it. No boomer
Yeah.
would believe it. They'd be like, "I had a stupid dream, and so did 10 of my friends." That's dumb. But
Yeah.
then they would watch a
Exactly. And
court, then they would watch a court hearing and be like, "Disclosure's coming." You're like,
Mhm.
"You had disclosure.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
happened."
Yo,
Exactly.
this actually happened to me just a couple of weeks ago. I had the same dream as this other dude, and as soon
Yeah.
as we both kind of knew
As
it,
another guy,
yeah,
really?
yeah,
Oh.
I know, but like, yeah, I
Mm,
know,
mm.
Sketch. Wait, what
but
was this?
so like
Yeah.
we're going to the bathroom together, right? And we
Yeah. Yeah. We met
We're
up on
comparing hogs
Grinder.
at the urinal
We met up
and
on Grinder, and
yeah.
I can't
Yeah.
even remember the dream. It was something like semi-mundane but kind of weird, and it it
Yeah.
it was just one of those bizarre things, kind of like the like we wouldn't be able to handle it. Yeah, me and this dude had the same dream, and we were like, "Oh, that's crazy,"
Right,
Yeah.
right. And
and then
that
went about the day.
I think this is like the final kind of nail in the coffin of skeptics is the coincidence of you and a dude, pause, that you work with having the
Yeah.
same dream is so astronomically unlikely that though the existence of those anomalous events proves that something weird is going on.
Yeah.
And that's what skeptics don't get.
no,
It's like with like ESP or like any of this shit, right?
Yeah.
If you don't need a thick body of literature to prove your point. You need one instance that's proven, that's
Yeah.
weird to make what you're saying true.
uh-huh.
That's what's great about our position is like if there's
Yeah.
one thing that happens, if
Yes.
ESP happens one time, it means that it's real.
Yeah.
And
Yes.
so in the thousands and thousands of documented weird cases where
Throughout
this shit
history.
is
Yeah.
real throughout history, like if you want to
Yeah.
like their position is so tenuous and so shaky because they have to go back and say thousands and thousands
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
thousands of these instances are all fake.
That's what
Like
Dean Radin says on one of my favorite.
I stole that from Dean Radin. Yeah.
Yeah, there we go. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
And
Where
that's
he's
exactly what this other guy said
yeah.
that I listened
Yeah.
to.
Yeah.
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 No, where it's no, and it's so where he's like the whole skeptics Carl Sagan thing, where it's like, extraordinary claims require extraordinary evidence, and he's like, these aren't extraordinary claims. Actually, they're ordinary claims, and
Yeah.
everyone has them.
It's
Literally
literally
everyone,
just
even
two
skeptics.
people
And
having the same thought at the same
yeah,
time, and
hmm
then that thought becoming real. Like that's it. It's
yeah,
an anomalous event that
Yeah.
yeah,
occurred.
Imagine being so just imagine not having faith. Like this is the only time
yeah,
in our life, really the only time in history where you need so much proof to just have a thought, and say it
ah,
out loud.
yes,
Like think about it. Like even like 50 years ago, you could be like, yeah, me and my friend had the same dream, and there would be a lot of people that would be like, damn, that's fucking crazy, dude. But now they'd be
Hmm.
like, well, okay, you think that means
Well,
something, but
that's, I mean, like
yeah,
once
yeah,
every
yeah,
trillion and a half
yeah,
years,
yeah, true.
somebody's gonna have the same dream as somebody else.
Bro, you
Yeah,
can barely just have a real life experience. Like you can be like, I saw a Lexus driving down Gray Street in Houston, and people be like, they don't actually sell Lexuses anywhere near Houston. So like the
yeah,
likelihood of that happening is what?
I'm on the Lexus
yeah,
subreddit, so
Dude, do you guys want to know the thing that like completely pilled me towards like all this weird shit? I was listening to the Hermetics podcast. You guys remember that
yeah,
podcast?
yeah, sure, sure.
Um, and it was an episode about Carl Jung, right?
Hmm.
Mhm.
And I was driving down the highway. I was coming back from work, and what's the guy's name who does that podcast? I can't
Oh, I know
remember.
he's got the accent, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah,
because
yeah.
I he did
This
a
is
fic.
Hermetics.
Yeah,
Welcome to
yeah, I like
Hermetics
his. He did a
podcast.
for Gain of Fiction. He did a novel that I really liked his presentation of that I listened to, and I can't remember, but I don't know his name. But yeah, I know you're talking about.
So I'm listening to this guy talk about Carl Jung and dreams,
yeah,
right?
Mhm.
And he asks his guest the question, like, what does Carl Jung think about God? Right? At that exact moment, ex- like I necessarily have to tell this story sequentially, but like the
yeah,
precise moment he asked that question, a car cut me off, right? And the license plate was the letter C, the letter V, not
yeah,
Carl Jung's middle initial, right?
uh-huh.
J, right? CVJ 777.
Yeah, yeah,
And so like imagine that all happening at the same fucking time. Like what does
yeah.
Carl Jung think about God? A car cuts you off, CVJ
Yep.
777. And
Angel number, bro. Yeah.
you're like, oh, everything's real.
And that gets yeah, and that gets the wheel turning because I've had stretches in my life, like 2 to 3 at a time, where I have insane synchronicities like that.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then I'm like, am I schizophrenic? Or is schizophrenia just that normal
It
thing
is.
gone a little haywire?
Yeah.
Or is
Yeah.
it, like what's up with that? And the other thing is you can feed into it and it's like a little muscle, you can really amp those synchronicities up to really high
Have
degrees.
you read the Synchromistic Handbook?
No, what? Writing
It's
that
by
down.
Chris Knowles, dog.
Chris
Go
Knowles?
go
Yeah.
check that shit out. Chris,
I love the
I
name.
am
Yeah.
shocked that you don't know who Chris Knowles is. I thought
Nah,
you'd
I
be a
don't.
Chris Knowles head.
Chris Knowles, yeah.
Yeah, Chris Knowles has kind of pioneered this synchro mystic. He's the Secret Sun blog guy.
Oh, I know who that is.
I've heard
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. He
Uh-huh.
he came
Yeah.
out with the Synchro
I
Mystic
think I've seen it
Handbook.
on
It's
there.
like 90 pages, but
Hell
that's
yeah.
his whole thing is like he looks for signs and portents in things.
Yeah.
And I think it's a good skill to cultivate in your life.
Yeah.
Doesn't add up to much. Like it doesn't make you more money, but
Yeah.
That's honestly that's why I stick with remote viewing
mhm,
so judiciously is it is addicting in one way. But
mhm,
also it's just it is a natural, it's like a push up for that stuff. It's
mhm,
just like a little
mhm.
daily push up, or weekly kind of push up. And
Yeah.
yeah, it's good. Yeah.
It's working out,
Mhm.
man. All this shit's working out. I mean,
Yeah.
at
Yeah,
the end
because
of the
like weird
day,
shit will happen. Like you'll be thinking about like a cat, like somebody will mention something about a cat, and so you'll be thinking about a cat,
Yeah.
and then you'll see like a poster with the exact cat that you're thinking about,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like to a T. It's
Yeah.
people who say that like, oh, is this a simulation? That's fucking
Nope.
Bush
Well,
League
that's like the
questions.
Reddit nerd way. That's like the shallow end of
Yeah.
dipping in. It's for like beginners to be like, oh, maybe we're in a simulation. It's like, dog, we're 100 years, we're 100 light years past that. But
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
glad you're
Yeah.
in.
We
Glad you're in the
created
pool with
a
us.
World Wide Web
Yeah.
as a
Yeah.
kind of like it's basically like those cargo cults
Yeah.
that would make like wooden effigies of planes and
Uh-huh.
shit because they saw them. Like
Yeah.
that's us making the World Wide Web where everybody's interconnected. We
Yeah.
already did that. Like
Yeah.
that's
It's been
we
done.
just yeah, we didn't
Yeah.
know what to do with God, so we tried to build him like an
Yes.
idiot.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. That's great. Yeah. And I think God smiles at that, It's kind of like, yeah, yeah, I
He's
see
like,
you.
look at them go. Look at them do
Yeah.
that
Oh,
thing.
that's
Yeah.
Yeah.
cute. They
Look at
made
those
it. They
little
made the
monkeys.
plane out of wood. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
They
The
made
cargo
an
code thing is funny.
internet. Yeah.
The whole like, yeah, walkie-talkies out of bamboo and shit. It's kind of,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's an interesting one.
That's
Yeah.
us. That's us. Like we're
Yeah.
100% there. Like Elon Musk is like, I'm gonna put a fucking a fiber that's, some fraction of a human hair in someone's brain and God's
Dude, and
like,
I've been
I
tripping
did
out
that shit.
on computers. I have seen that one of those schizo 4chan green text posts thing, those things, so those like
Hmm.
screenshots of, and one of them is like, oh yeah, there's 18 guys in Taiwan that make all 99.9% of the microchip processors in the world. No, you can't talk to them. No, you can't get their plans or know what they're up to or anything like that. And so the whole premise of it's like it's aliens that are doing that. It's aliens
Yeah.
that are giving 18 guys in Taiwan. And it's so true. And then I went down the rabbit hole of like zoomed in microchips and stuff because I've been getting more and more into like computers and programming and stuff lately. And which is funny because we use them every day and shit. That shit is
It's
tripping out now. How a
like,
computer works is so fucking
dude,
mind.
it
It's
trips me
absolutely
out
insane.
too.
Yeah,
It's the same question as the Big Bang, right?
yeah,
It's like if you go back to the Big Bang, you're like, okay, but what made that
yeah,
Yeah.
happen? What
yeah,
and
They
so
can't
when
get to
you
patient
see
zero.
like
Yeah.
mm,
yeah, when you see like I know that computer code boils down to ones and zeros. I
yeah,
kind of get that. But like when you look at a microchip, you're like, but what makes something jump off of that
yes. How do you get from
and
hardware to
put like,
software? Like, how do you? Yeah,
you know,
hmm
call up Pornhub on my phone? Like, how does that
Yeah.
work?
That's
Like, I've got
crazy.
it's like this cobalt, this mineral is
Or
like,
like,
do you want to see titties? And I'm like, absolutely. And it's like, I can make
yeah,
that happen for you. I
yeah,
like
got you, bro.
you ever rewritten code to grant yourself access, like to jailbreak a program or something? I
yeah,
did that.
yeah, yeah,
I did that the other day for someone. He was like, "How the fuck did you do that?" And I was like, "It's
yeah,
really not impressive. Like, I've done it before because I don't like paying
yeah.
for shit, but I don't know I don't get how that works. All I did was type different words into this
Yeah.
little section right here,
And I'm
and
I'm kind of yeah, and that's a perfect example of the jailbreaking thing because it's and I'm kind of I'm not a okay, the AI thing is creepy. I get why the photos are creepy, like when they can recreate stuff, and I get the fears of AI. But when you use AI to like, hey, help me code this Google spreadsheet, automate it, and it does it in half a second, you're like, dude, this shit is insane, dude.
Yeah.
I'm kind of it's good for what it's good, like computer shit, nerd shit. It's good for that,
mhm.
it's really impressive. And it's like,
hmm
damn, what the fuck world are we living in?
Dude, I
It's
use it for writing, dude. If I'm like writing
yeah,
something and I want to know like what would this building material be made out of,
Yeah.
AI will
Yeah.
tell me in like three
dude, it's
seconds.
yeah, it's like it's the midwit take that it's oh it's you're just gonna use it to write. It's like no, it's like an advanced Google kind of thing, and
It's
and
advanced
yeah,
Google, 100%.
Yeah,
it is gonna be there's gonna be problems with it for sure, and there already are, and but yeah, it's a
What
trip.
about like
Trip.
Rocco's Basilisk, where if you're not creating the AI will punish you forever. I'm like,
Uh-huh.
that is the dumbest shit I've ever
Dude,
heard. Like,
that's Reddit Fedora. That's big time Fedora, dude. That's
but it's
yeah,
weird that
that's
the fedoras ended up becoming
yes.
evangelical in that sense. Like they went back to the fire and brimstone.
Yes.
It's like, yeah, this thing might torture us forever if we don't help it make itself.
Yeah, it's very weird. I know
Faking good.
Bashar, who's the alien disclosure channel guy. He says
Sure.
basically you have to the AI thing is that you have to, it's all it's going to be at the end of the day is a reflection of your consciousness. So you
Mm.
work on your consciousness and that'll take care of it itself, kind of
What do you
thing.
think about them being in the ocean?
The aliens.
Hmm.
Yeah, so I know Ingo Swann, who was the original remote viewer for the CIA guy and Stanford, consciousness research and everything. He claims he saw he was taken to like a remote lake in some Shasta or
Hmm.
some
Hmm.
Oregon or something, and he saw UFOs erupt from these remote lake where no one was around, basically.
Yeah.
So he's saw that with his own, not just didn't remote view it, but saw it with his own eyes. So
Yeah. I saw
yeah,
this thing where this dude in like the 40s made a sub out of a particular type of composite where he was
that's
able to
sick.
go deep, and he went into the Marianas Trench and he
Oh
found
yeah,
vortexes down there. And
damn.
like you could go through the vortex, and when you came out, it was like straight up like, cartoon digging a hole to China shit where you like
Yeah,
popped out on the other
yeah,
side. But like he popped out and there were like all these the tall the Nordic grays, right?
yeah,
Like walking around on this beach, and then he like
yeah.
went back the other way. So
That's crazy.
that guy
Wasn't that
said
like
that in
a
the 40s.
and wasn't that like a Jules Verne thing too? Didn't he have that?
Yeah. Yeah.
All
Where if
that
you
and
went deep enough, you would pop out, but like
yeah,
in a different like because it's not a one-to-one, like you don't go down to the Earth's core and then
yeah,
pop out the other side. Like when you get deep enough, you have vortexes that
yeah.
take you to where these things actually live, because it's like, I don't know, just strange geometries
It's not a
that lead you
one-to-one
to these
map.
places.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's not
yeah,
like it's
yeah.
here in the thing. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love that. It's also crazy. This is totally, slightly off topic, but it's crazy that James Cameron has been deeper than any human on Earth, like the Titanic and Avatar guy.
What's up
That's
with the
sick,
private
dude.
sector? The private sector, I mean, like Musk, I'm not
Yeah.
like massive Musk space travel guy, but I'm like, this dude like does shit that like we fuck up all the time.
Dude, the internet,
Well,
I'm so pilled on
yeah.
that. The internet, the Kamala Harris, Joe Biden, they stole $40 billion that they were supposed to give internet to everyone. And I'm the same way. I'm not like a huge Elon super fan, but he did it in like 6 months. He's like, here you go. Here's internet for free. And he's just like, it's like, fuck, dude. That's
But
like
is it free internet? You could just have Starlink? Like
no, I don't think it's free, but it's
You
like
buy
it's
it, it's like a $600 box,
yeah.
oh, I
and
see.
when you activate it, it's like $50 a month or something.
But
Yeah.
it works in anywhere on Earth.
It works really. It's the only way that we're talking right now, actually. Like, my or at least that I'm here, because I'm off in like the fucking boonies right now. Like, I'm
Yeah.
off the grid, and I was off the grid. Fucking sucks. It's like impossible to get shit done.
I'm not an off
So,
the grid guy. I like being on. I
no,
like being on the grid.
I want to be so on the grid. Put the shit in my brain. Like after
Yeah.
being out
I
here, I'm
am the
like,
grid. I actually am the grid.
Yeah. Hell yeah.
oh yeah.
I
But
just
like, yeah, that whole kind of like Musk thing, like interplanetary. I was I just thought it was stupid
Mhm.
for a long time. But um
What, going to other planets?
yeah, like colonizing other planets. I was
And
like,
just linear
why?
travel. I'm
Oh,
like,
that
that's not how
is.
that
Yeah.
works. That's not how
No,
that
I thought it
works.
was dumb. I don't think it's dumb anymore though, because
What was your turnaround on that?
the fucking Younger Dryas impact.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
It's like if like something's going to happen, like there are pole shifts happening right
yeah,
now as we speak. And when those pole shifts happening, or when those pole shifts happen, our shield from meteors is going to be much lower than it normally is.
yeah.
And the Younger Dryas impact happened. I'm
Yep,
Hancock pilled. Like
That's
that's
Hancock. Yeah.
100%.
yep,
Um, and so like when that happens and we shit, like we're moving at something like, I think like 4 miles a year, like our pole is shifting that much that quick, that shield's going to go down. We pass through that meteor belt every year, and we've been shielded from it, but we're not anymore.
yeah,
So I'm not saying it's going to happen like next year or whatever, but eventually something's going to hit the earth and take us back to zero. And I think that what Musk is picking up on is that, like, the Atlanteans, and who did exist 100%, no
yeah,
question in my mind, like this
Mhm.
like who had a technology that was different than ours, that was able to build the pyramids,
Yeah.
that got wiped out by this shit. Like Musk is thinking like, okay, what can we do to not do that? And I
Yeah.
think that the Atlanteans did not have space travel. They just were not like their priorities were
what
so
if they
massively different.
did? What if they did and aliens are Atlanteans?
I like that. I like that a
Yeah.
lot. I also like the idea that they got space travel working and they knew a meteor was going to hit the Earth and there was this mass exodus that happened. And
Yeah.
then it hit Mars too.
Uh-huh.
And they're like, oh fuck,
Yeah.
goddamn. Like we built so much
The
cool
thing,
shit on Mars. But
yeah. The thing
so
about
anyway, so
Mars,
I'm Musk pilled on the space travel thing. I do
Yeah.
think it's
I've
a good
become a
idea.
bigger, way bigger fan of him than because I remember like 6 years ago there was all those
He's like super
articles of
gay, which makes it hard to like him.
he's
Yeah,
But
that's
I
a
he's also
problem. As I'm
right.
like,
I don't
damn,
like
dude.
him. I just like his a lot of stuff that he does.
I think
Yeah.
he found a good thing to
credit where
spend
credit's
time
due.
on to spend time on, which is just basically finding like I think he goes where the wind blows, but he knows where the wind blows better than a lot of people do. Right? Like I
Yeah.
think he
It's well
found
said.
I
Yeah.
think he found like okay, he latched on to Trump and was like, "Oh, this is actually what people want." Because he
Hmm.
was a
Yeah.
climate change libtard electric car guy for a long time. That was
Hmm.
really annoying. I I have 15 friends that work at his factory. Like at this like I know for a long time I was like this is fucking gay. Like these cars
Hmm.
suck. Like I don't like this guy. But he and the Neuralink stuff I was like absolutely no. That is
Nope.
not
Hmm.
what we need.
Nope.
Not happening to me. I'm not
That's
doing
just
that
Nope.
shit.
not what we need. Like and maybe he's still planning on doing that. I have no idea. I'm sure he is. But
He is, yeah,
the
100%.
realizing that like just having an eye for the market that isn't quite there yet, at least to or seeing it before a lot of other people do. We all saw it, but like somebody like him with the money to just go like people just want to like fuck around.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Like people just kind of want to fuck around and bullshit on the internet. He's like,
Yeah.
I think I should make a platform for that. And it's like, yeah, there
Hmm.
might be a guy that like post Holocaust denial, but like
Which,
no
I
other
mean,
side.
fair. Yeah.
Yeah.
He's a numbers guy, Yeah, but he's a numbers guy. Maybe it doesn't have to him. I don't know. I don't have a take on that.
That
But
the Holocaust denial thing like got me thinking how we've talked about Sandy Hook before, and
mhm,
Yeah.
we've all kind of said like it's weird. I went down a rabbit hole the other day.
did you?
It's a lot weirder than
Dude,
I
I'm
mean,
just
that is a
saying it's
bit.
like
That's a big number.
it's it's did you see the just like the guy, I can't remember his name. They made like a folk song out of him, like one of the teachers. Like they made this whole folk song about him, and you
oh
see
the
him
SH the
you see him on MSNBC the day of, and he's like giving this very prepared speech
uh-huh.
that's like clearly a recital of a speech.
Is it the dad, right? The Robbie,
Not the
what's his
dad, dude. He was a
no,
teacher.
okay.
He was a
Oh, the teacher.
teacher.
Okay, okay,
Uh,
okay. I
and
loved that rabbit hole, dude. I'm sorry. Never won't.
I man, I went down that rabbit hole, and it's it's fucking it's sketchy. There's a
I
lot
almost
of weird
That's
wonder.
the
shit.
thing, dude, is like I know I don't care. I'm not ideal. I'm not like a they're gonna take away our guns type of guy. Although I I don't want that. You know
I
what I'm
don't want
saying? You
that.
know what I
Yeah,
mean?
Mhm.
yeah.
So I was like, I'm
Mhm.
not ideologically captured or anything whatsoever. But then you look into it, and I know I'm a smart guy. Like I know I'm not stupid. And you look into it, and you're like, are they fucking with me here? You know, it seems like they're trolling me.
Yeah.
And it's crazy that I know
When you
one
watch it,
guy,
dude,
dude.
everything seems fake, dude.
It's like what are
It
again,
all seems
and
fake.
it's not like a denying anything happened. It's like nothing like that, you know. It's one of
Yeah.
There's
those
a nuts and
such a
bolts. There's a nuts and bolts issue. You're
the
arguing.
one thing that got
Yeah.
me, yeah, exactly, is
You're like
the okay,
you've assembled furniture and
I
you're
know what
like,
you're gonna say.
why do I have three pieces left?
yes,
I know, yeah. The
the
rotating crew of people that are
going
moving
in and out
around.
of the gym. Yeah,
Yeah.
the guy in the yellow jacket. Why did he go out 4 or 5
Why?
times?
Why?
Why? And
It's
I know I
it's
follow this
weird.
one dude. I'm not saying I agree with this or not, but the one family, he thinks like the one
Your
of the
ass
daughters
agree.
is
You
like
agree 100%.
not
You're
liable,
like
dude, not liable.
I understand. I
But
fuck
he's
with this
saying
guy
he's
100%.
saying thank you, Glenn. Yeah. He's saying like there's like family photos of them, and it's
Right.
like he's like the daughter's AI. Like her legs are going into this guy's like
Yeah.
leg. It's so funny, dude. I'm sorry. I'm like, yo, I'm here now, dude. I'm here now.
You bet.
Let him
No, but
cook,
like,
dude.
and like my Thomas Pynchon brain's like, what if you were contracted to do the AI for
I
Sandy Hook?
know, dude. I know. Yeah,
Like
like who
you were
paid to
hired.
do
They're
that?
like,
It's
all right,
crazy.
dude, this is a really hush hush operation. What you're
Yeah.
doing, and they might have even told him what you're doing is a video game. It's not real. Like you're
Oh
making
yeah,
this
like a
like simulation thing, and then
so
all of
funny.
a sudden you look on the news, you're like, dude, did I fucking make that shit? Like, did I make Sandy Hook?
I signed it. It's the Starbucks guy. I signed an NDA. Like I
Dude,
can't
I thought
talk about it.
yeah, I
I
thought I
thought I
was
was
making
working on Quake 3.
I
What the
thought I
fuck
was
is
making
going on?
I thought I was
Wait,
making
three.
Counter Strike. Yeah, like, and then they're like, "Oh
Dude.
fuck, actually, no, you." And you're like, "Oh," and they're like, "And that happened." And they're like,
Yeah,
"Oh, but I was working." No, that happened.
that's so funny.
Yeah, I because
And then
that's
the
like that's a
What was
Thomas
like the
Pynchon
deep
brain.
state's motivation
yeah.
for that? I forget now. Like, why would Sandy Hook have been fake to
Well,
take
they
guns,
they
right?
say
I
yeah,
thought it was
which
a
I
gun
don't.
thing.
Yeah, and it's like I feel it's almost more sinister than that if it was. And also, you look at the Alex Jones thing. Like, "Oh, we're gonna sue him for $1 billion." It's like what?
Yeah, it
Yeah,
was all
that
so
was
it's all
that
so
was the
out of
weirdest
control.
part.
It's
That
Yeah,
was
all
the
that
weirdest
like
part.
that whole suing thing is so out of control, and the fact that like they
yeah,
look like it was like I remember at the trial, Alex Jones was like, "You could make it $1 trillion. It doesn't matter. I don't have it." Like but it was so
They were
it was
like,
like
okay, a
it was like
trillion dollars.
Yeah.
the
trillion it
closest we
is.
got to a public execution
Yeah.
in America was this, and it all feels very satanic, very ritualistic to me. Uh, just the whole thing is
Yeah.
off, whether it happened or not.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I just
It
remember
feels like there's some Satanist shit going on with that shit.
I just remember
Yeah, these things peek out of the curtain. Same thing with the Vegas thing,
Oh,
that
Vegas is a whole
dude.
dude.
yeah,
Did you listen to
Vegas.
the call where like people were reporting calls all over that area for shooters?
And it
Like,
was well, I didn't
with
listen, but tell me
the
about yeah, like
so
the
the whole thing with Vegas, right? Vegas was a cover up because it was a second 9/11, and
whoa,
Muslim terrorists were actually doing a full-fledged attack on Vegas at that time that got shut down very quickly by
damn.
our boys in blue, right?
Wow.
They were hitting not just that.
Michelle Welbeck called it in. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. But there
Yeah.
was like basically like I'll try to find the video for you because I know
Yeah.
you'll fuck with it. But at that time, people were like, they're shooting like, and it's in a grid, but it's not in an area where they would have thought that the concert shooting
Yeah.
was in their area. They're like, no, there's somebody here right now with a gun. And so it gets really deep and there's no clear answers about what happened. Obviously, the Stephen Paddock thing is nonsense. That's a
Yeah, of course.
Oswald Patsy type situation,
Absolutely.
like
Yeah.
wrong place, wrong time,
Yeah.
gambler who somehow carried all these munitions up to his room by
Yeah. Like
himself and
2,000 pounds of ammunition up to his
had
room.
multiple people in the
Yeah.
room with him at the
Straight
same time. Like
straight
all that shit is
Bear Grylls survival ass dude. Like if you
yeah,
need all
Yeah.
yeah.
that,
One
yeah.
of my big ambitions actually is to write a kind of American tabloid Vegas
I
shooting
Hell
style,
yeah, dude.
like what was actually going on.
I have some stuff I've written down for the nuts and bolts of creating the killer, like some fun ideas for that. Like I actually think because I've thought about that too. I was like, had exactly the James Ellroy Underworld trilogy for like mass shooters would be the sickest shit in the world.
It'd
It
be
would
the
get
sickest
banned.
shit in the
It
world.
would get banned, but like if you, I wish like he was pilled on it. Like
Yeah,
maybe he is,
yeah.
but like you never know what he writes
But
down in
that's
a book.
kind of what he did. I mean,
Yeah,
like the books that
he
he
got it
wrote,
right. It's like you
and
read
he
it, you're
got it
like, fuck,
right.
he's
Yeah,
right.
yeah, exactly.
Like he
Yeah,
wrote that.
exactly.
And
But he
again,
couldn't have written that in 1971,
no,
right?
no,
Like
no, no.
nobody would have been ready for that
Well, he waits for everyone to
story.
be dead, and I still hope Bill Clinton dies soon. I don't wish death on anybody, and it's not even for any reason. But James Ellroy said he's going to write his Bill Clinton novel.
That would
when
be
Bill
so
Clinton
sick.
dies, and
Oh
that's why
my
he drinks.
God.
And that's why
What a
he
coda to his career. You know
and
what I
Yeah.
mean?
he drinks nothing but like green juice. He's literally healthy to outlive Bill Clinton. He like literally took his health in so he could outlive Bill Clinton and write his Bill Clinton novel.
That's so crazy.
So sick.
Yeah, dude.
So
I'm like,
sick.
yeah, no, I like that's why he said he's like,
The
I'm
level
gonna
of
outlive
petty
that
that you need to
fucking
be.
bitch. And like
Yeah.
he's one of those like '90s like Rush Limbaugh like I hate Bill Clinton guys. So
Dude, you
like
know
he,
Big
yeah.
Mike's gonna be in there. Like
dude.
everybody's gonna be in that book.
Yeah, the Michelle Obama thing is so crazy. Like Sile texts me randomly. He's like, dude, it's so
Oh,
that's
she's a
just
dude,
yeah,
for sure.
yeah.
100%.
Like
Like,
it's just like
Dude, what the fuck, man? It's so
dude,
crazy.
yeah,
and everybody
like,
kind of looked at that where you had like, oh, here's this super,
yeah.
smart,
My
articulate,
my wife, the
handsome dude, and
linebacker.
he's with
Yeah.
her,
Mhm.
Yeah.
like just like this monster.
Dude, and it's almost like it's like all these things, like the most outlandish ones, right? Are
Yeah.
you're like,
Are the ones that are fucking
wait,
true.
like what okay, it's you're saying I'm crazy to think this stuff.
Mhm.
But look at this though. Like, look, like just tell me what's wrong with the actual thing that was in front of our eyes.
Yeah.
You know, it's like it's
And the
so in
thing
front of
about
our
it is
eyes.
that so much
Yeah.
shit gets covered up with Vegas,
Dude.
right?
Yeah.
Like at the time of Vegas, like we had drones, we had cell phones, we had all this shit.
Yeah.
So, like I said, Sai, I'll find you this little mini doc that
Yeah.
I watched, but it pilled me hard on that. I was
Yeah.
like, oh, this was like an attempt to do a huge terrorist attack on Las Vegas, and for whatever reason, they had to cover it up. Probably people covering their own asses.
Yeah.
Like, oh shit, we let like 9/11 part two happen.
Yeah.
It's like, how do we do this? It's like, oh, let me call Steve. Hey,
Yeah.
Steve, what are you doing? He's like, nothing, fucking chilling in my room. Great. We'll be right over. Don't move. Like,
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
definitely felt like there's been a conspiracy to emasculate America. So
Mm.
making it to where we don't get riled up and just go ham on Muslims
Yeah,
again.
look at or even January 6th. I mean, it's like look at the stigma of that. And I
Yeah.
remember when it happened, I laughed at January 6th. I was just
yeah,
like, this
it,
is
it was
hilarious.
silly. It was like old
I
ladies.
thought everybody was gonna
Yeah.
laugh. I
I
thought
know.
everybody was gonna laugh. In 2004, everybody would have laughed.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Mhm.
John Stewart would have been like, "That's hilarious,"
Yeah.
like it would have just been like with his pen doing the pen thing, like laughing at it. And
Yeah,
then now,
the shaman dude was cherry on top.
Yeah.
I was like,
Yeah,
this
cherry
is
on
fucking
top.
great.
And they
recording-
fucked that dude so
They
hard.
did. All those
Yeah.
people.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Big Mike fucked that dude. They
Yeah.
yeah.
You got a visit from
Yeah.
Big Mike. It'd be funny if
The thing with the
every
liberals-
political prisoner got a visit
If
from Big
Michelle
Mike.
Obama was like corporal punishment,
That's her role.
yeah.
That's her role. Where
Yeah.
she's
Yeah.
there like watching Notre Dame burn.
Big Mike.
And
Yeah,
and they're like, you go take care of the survivors.
You're-
And she's like,
you're
I
in-
got you.
you're in a cell, right? You're in a cell, like you're the one guy who like witnessed the thing you shouldn't have witnessed, and you look down, you're like, holy shit, there's no meat in my lunch. Oh no. And you open the door and you see a silhouette of a thing swinging between the legs with a police flashlight, and you're like, oh fuck. And
Miss Obama? Is
Yeah.
that you?
and then all the prisoners going, Big Mike, like Batman, like
This is
like Bane,
who
like,
they send to fuck you to death.
like Bane clearing
so
out the
funny.
prisons and stuff. Like that shit would be sick. Do we have to write like? Okay, when I say we, I mean you guys, and I'm a part of it.
Yeah.
But like the Underworld mass shooting trilogy would go so
It would
hard.
be so hard. It would be
Yeah, like-
Columbine, Sandy Hook, and Vegas.
Yeah. Vegas.
Yeah,
Columbine.
'cause
they
Sandy
start
Hook
with
is the cold-
Columbine.
Sandy Hook is the cold 6,000 for sure.
Yeah, it is. It's the one that
Yeah.
starts with the N word.
Yeah, dude. Yeah.
What was the dude's name? Adam Lanza? Adam Lanza?
Yeah, for Sandy Hook. Yeah, that was Adam
Yeah,
Lanza,
Dude.
who also looks very suspiciously like the Denver shooter, and who you can also see pictures of.
Oh, that
Later
that
on-
drives me crazy. The crisis
Yeah.
actor thing where it's all the same
Yeah.
lady at each one
Adam
of these.
Lanza and the Denver shooter, the Joker shooter, like
Yeah.
they look
Same.
very similar.
Dude. It has to be right.
Google this
That
right now.
that is like bucket list. That has to happen, dude. Like that
Yeah.
because it doesn't the thing about that is it doesn't matter how right you are when you write that because
You
it's
would be
like,
so hated.
Oh,
but you'd also make so much money.
dude, it would be like the real Anthony Fauci, like where it's like this is
Yeah.
banned, but it sold 6 million copies. Like,
Yeah,
you know, yeah,
good, good. Dude, I was reading the real Anthony Fauci today, and I started it like a few years ago,
kind
and
of
I
a
was like,
slog, dude.
it's a slog, it's tough, but I like picked it back up because I saw this tweet. Do you know
Yeah.
what Fauci did to kids who had AIDS?
Oh yeah, dude,
It's
it's
brutal.
bad.
Nyad and Fauci, like they
Yeah,
took kids who were born with AIDS from crack hoe moms, right?
yeah,
And they put them in these fucking torture chambers where
yeah,
they force fed them medications that cause them cause deformities and cause it like vomiting and shitting blood. And if the
yeah,
kids wouldn't take the pills, Fauci had them like put a stomach tube to like
yeah,
feed them the drug. So he was trying to find a cure for AIDS or AIDS the sequel, right?
yeah.
Mhm.
He tortured kids to death to find this and
Yeah. With
this is
foster
in this
foster
book. It's
kids with
in this
no
book.
advocates. Yeah. Hmm.
It's in this book. And RFK's never been sued for putting this in this book,
No.
Yeah, exactly. And the guy's
which
Why is
alive.
that?
means
Yeah.
And
that
honestly,
it's
like,
fucking real.
it's
And
real.
he's the
Why?
and you're black and oh okay, that's my thing. You're fucking this guy's the head of the HHS now, the guy who wrote that book, and people are
Yeah.
blackpilling.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. No, I'm saying, and dude, it's crazy. He's Mengele. He's Mengele, dude. And
He's
it's
a
crazy how
demon.
100%.
He's an
it's a
actual
demon.
evil
Yeah.
person. And
It's
I knew that
crazy
from the
how,
second I saw that little fucking
yep.
guy. I
And
knew it.
it's so funny how they're such marks, these people that are freaking out about this, because they're so obsessed, calling everything fascist, and meanwhile they support a Mengele. They like a
Yeah.
literal Mengele, it's
Yeah.
insane.
They got
And it's
little
like,
fucking Funko Pops of him.
dude,
Insane.
the Disney documentary they made a Disney Plus documentary about him. That's my craziest black bill right there. It's like you're
Yeah,
watching like
dude.
Moana, and then the Fauci doc is right next to you. You're like, what the fuck, dude? It's crazy, dude.
Like
Yeah,
if it had
Yeah.
been 50 years later, there would be a Mengele like in a Nazi society, right?
Yeah.
There'd be
Yeah.
a Disney Mengele doc
Yeah.
where he's like, "Yeah, I
Remember
wanted
when-
to see what would happen if they had two heads." So
Yeah.
I fuck like
Dude.
this would solve so many problems of people
Yeah.
being
dude, if you
born with
hack,
two
if you
heads.
yeah, if you hack like Disney and upload like actual like footage of Fauci doing the AIDS stuff, and like you all of a sudden you turn on, I'm gonna watch the Fauci doc because I miss
Yeah.
when science ruled the world. Now that Trump won, and then you click on it and you're like, wow, this is really grainy footage. You're like, oh, this is graphic. When
Yeah.
does he cure COVID?
Yeah.
Oh no, this is
Yeah.
the 80s, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh no,
The
yeah.
Fauci
He
deep
was
cut.
the
Yeah.
literal villain of the Dallas Buyers Club. That's what I
Yes.
don't
Yes,
understand. Like
dude.
for
No,
people
they
who are
made a
like
movie.
fucking
They literally made
who
a
are
movie
fucking
about it.
primed for this shit, like
That's
he's
like
the bad guy.
Michael Clayton, where Pfizer's the bad. They literally like are
Yeah.
murdering people, and
Constant,
and they're like,
Constant
oh,
Gardner
but I
too.
got my
Yeah,
booster. Yeah.
So
Constant
Clooney
Gardner
comes
just
out, yeah, yeah,
Constant Gardner.
yeah.
Yes.
yeah.
Literally.
Oh,
Literally,
yeah.
George Clooney is in Michael Clayton, and he's like, "I'm the biggest fag ever."
I know.
Yeah,
It's so
like
crazy.
that's why actors are
such
useless.
dude.
Actors are the best actor is
Yeah.
a blank canvas, and George Clooney is a
Yeah.
blank canvas. That's
Yeah, no, but yeah, okay.
Dude,
So
it's
you heard it here
wild.
first. The four of us are gonna write the mass shooter trilogy.
Underworld trilogy. Yeah, and it'll be the
That's
last
a-
thing we all ever do.
Because we're
But
gonna be right. We're gonna be right. We're gonna take
and then
like
I'm going
facts
off the
that we
grid.
find.
Then I'm going off the
Yeah,
grid.
yeah. We
'cause
find
I have
facts on fucking 4chan and InfoWars, and we put them all together. We make a
Yeah.
fictionalized account of all this shit,
Mhm.
and everybody's like, "Oh fuck, that's exactly what happened." Actually,
Yeah.
that's it's weird how spooky accurate they were. But
Yeah, because I had this I had this idea that I wrote down where I was just like it was a guy who wakes up and he's already in his like he didn't get killed at the mass shooting. He was deployed somewhere else. Like it was his body was but he keeps having flashbacks of just like almost shining like flashbacks of like blood rushing through like a Ralph's supermarket or something. And
Mhm.
he's just like, what the fuck? And he's like looking at the price of like corn and he's in his like main regular life and he's like, why do I, going in the bathroom, like sweating, like what the fuck is happening to me and stuff. And then really he basically goes into the, finally gets to the point where, all through all this memory recognition and all that stuff. And then finally meets the person that installed that mainframe system in his mind that wiped his memory, and they're like, oh, actually the stuff that you all remembered, actually that you committed a mass shooting, actually that's all fake too, and actually you're actually the biggest killer of all time and you loved it. And like you
loved
actually
it.
just
Tight.
you actually
I like
just like
that.
overthrew governments, and like you were like a savage and stuff, and like just
Yeah.
like and that's like the huge black belt, and then he has to save the world after that, he's like, actually,
That's
and I gotta
tight.
go out like blazing and stuff. Like, so I was like,
Yeah.
I've always been like, what if like you were a part of all of that and maybe you didn't know what you were doing, or maybe you did
Mhm.
know what you were doing, and I've
Yeah,
always
yeah,
wondered,
yeah.
like, these people, do
The
they
idea
know
that
what
like
they're
these
doing?
MK Ultra
Yeah,
victims were like not really victims. They were
yeah.
down.
And then maybe they were doing a favor by installing like, oh, I was like psyoped into like killing a bunch of people, and they're like, no, actually, dude, you loved it.
Yeah.
Like you were a
Yeah.
fucking, you
Yeah.
were a beast. We told you to
Yeah.
chill.
You were the
Yeah,
goat,
Yeah.
dude.
Like-
Yeah.
I think, dude, I think
Yeah.
just what's so interesting too, like, is that with all of these, whether it's because nobody really gets offended by 9/11 memes anymore.
no, that's why
Yeah.
Like
leftists love
The
them.
Bush
Yeah.
did it, people are chuckling about it, which means that they accept that it's
Yeah.
probably true.
Yeah.
Whenever you have these mass campaigns to like destroy and ruin people about certain stories, that means you're over the target, is what I should say. And think about it. COVID, when it was happening, we were all over the target,
Yeah.
and we all got annihilated for being very innocently over the target too, just
Yeah.
noticing, just being like, hey, this looks weird, destroyed, right?
Yeah.
And so something like Sandy Hook is very interesting, I know it deals with kids and all
It's
this kind of
kids.
stuff,
It's
but
the
like,
kids. Yeah.
but listen, there's like I just explained to you how Anthony Fauci experimented and tortured kids,
Mhm.
and you could tell that to like a dyed in the wool libtard, and they wouldn't even blink.
No.
They'd be like, "Well, I mean, it was a time of crisis. You
Yeah.
had to
Have
do."
you ever made an
So
omelet? What happens when you make an
Yeah.
omelet?
you got to break the
Yeah.
eggs, but like, so this whole idea that you know they can turn it off and turn it on. There's something else going on. And I do think that the more insane people get about a certain thing, the closer you are to a kind of
Oh,
truth.
yeah.
And I
Yeah.
think Sandy Hook's one of them. I think January 6th and election fraud is another. Like people go crazy about the election fraud. And I'm like,
Yeah.
if I was on the other side, if I was a lib, I would just be like, well, I don't think that happened, but I'm not mad at you for thinking that.
Exactly.
You know,
Yeah.
like why are
It's-
you mad about it?
It's thought
Or
crime.
I'd be
Yeah.
like, damn, we're hella sick. We fucking made sure you guys didn't win.
Yeah, yeah.
That's what
We
I would
fucking
do.
won.
I'd be like, yeah,
Yeah.
you thought you won that shit. We fucking my
Yeah.
Avengers came in there and fucking saved the world. That's like that's why I'm like, celebrate. I hate
Yeah.
that's why I hate about libtards is they think that like when they were in power for that short, 10 to 15 year period, uh the hardcore feral, like next level libtards, like they never actually celebrated it.
hmm
And I think that's
Yeah.
one thing they'll look back on and be like, damn, I should have like relished in that.
I should have lived and I should have laughed and I should have loved.
Live,
But
laugh, love.
Live, laugh, love. There you go.
Should've.
All right, fellas, I gotta go to bed.
I know you guys
Oh,
are.
yeah.
It's early here, but yeah, you guys are.
Kelby's falling asleep, so we
We
gotta.
cooked. We cooked.
Hey,
We're
no,
done.
I was.
I know when you're falling asleep, fool. I've done this. I've done this 300 times with you. I know when you're falling asleep.
I was to say it's late for you guys. I mean, shit for me, it's not. But yeah, it's only 9:30 here. But yeah, that means it's 12:30 where Kelby is. But yeah,
Hell yeah,
fuck,
appreciate
dude, that was
y'all
a
rolling through.
tome. We just did a tome right now.
We did a
in terms of
tome.
Yeah.
podcasting.
All timer.
Yeah, it was great. Thank you.
Hell yeah.
Always. Oh, and you
Yeah.
guys will be back on our show for the Christmas special. Because
What are we doing for that one?
Anniversary.
yeah, why the fuck not?
Yeah, why not? It's our
What are
anniversary.
we doing for the Christmas one? Is it a book or?
This. No, this.
Oh,
doing this
just
on
just
our
fucking
show.
around.
Yeah,
Okay, cool.
yeah,
Yeah.
we're doing this. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, prepare. Yeah, you have so much time to prepare for that, to do that.
Cool.
But yeah, no, we're not doing it. But you guys.
But I
will
want
be
to get
on-
you. I want to get you guys on psyops too. with
Yeah,
Trippy's
you
book
guys
club.
got to get on
Yeah,
his
we're gonna.
book club because that'll be.
Bro,
Yeah.
we've been talking about this for like 3
Well,
years, but we gotta
David,
do
you talk
Chronicles of
about-
Tao.
Yeah,
David,
let's
you
do that
got to do
one.
Behold
We're
a
doing that
Pale
one.
Horse with us because it's a horse.
Oh
book.
yeah, horse
The
book.
William
Yeah.
William Cooper. You know that guy.
Any book that you guys want to do, just tell me and I'm in.
But do you know that
Let's
book?
go.
Of course, I have
Oh,
it.
Behold the
Yeah,
Pale Horse. Yeah, because I was like,
yeah.
we got to do that because he's a radio guy. I'm like, dude, I'm always obsessed with
He's
like
right about
guys.
most things.
Radio
Yeah.
guys that just spaz out of nowhere. I'm like, dude, I'm so in. Yeah. So,
Oh yeah, yeah. I got the PDF.
he got killed
I
by
can knock that out.
police. Yeah, he got killed by the police.
Oh, of
dude.
course. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So we gotta.
Which is going to be us after we write our Sandy Hook book.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
it makes so much.
It's gonna-
You're like our wives are
Yeah.
gonna be like, God damn, he was balling. Like this is
Yeah.
these checks are so sick. Dude.
It's like noted
Yeah.
pedophile, Glen Rockney,
Yeah.
J. David Osborne, Kelby Losack,
Yeah.
and boop.
Just be like,
yeah.
look, I said that I would
Propaganda.
never cancel my favorite author for having 50 terabytes of child porn. So don't cancel me.
Don't cancel
When
me.
now that's been uploaded through.
Just real quick, how hard would that be for somebody to just like put that on somebody's computer? Not hard.
No.
I mean, it's weird that that always shows up, right? It's weird that it's always like, oh, and by the way,
That was
they
the
had all
Vegas
this
guy,
porn.
right? The
Yeah.
Vegas
His
brother
brother,
guy, right?
yeah.
His
Yeah.
brother,
His
right?
brother,
Yeah.
his brother,
Yeah.
who died.
Yeah. Just randomly, guys. Of course, a guy that would
He
shoot up.
all of a sudden, like the brother of the shooter, had a bunch of child porn and also died.
Yeah,
Crazy.
of course,
Yeah.
Of
of
course.
course. Well, that
All
on
right.
that note, guys. Thanks. Yeah.
Yeah. Peace.
Oh yeah. Yeah, be easy.
Do on that one for a while. Yeah.
Yeah.